Reagan is suing her cousin, Amy Ross, for stealing cash from her home. Amy denies the charge.
Order. All rise. That's case number 419 on count in the matter of Reagan versus Ross.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Miss Reagan, Miss Ross is your cousin, and it is your claim that she stole some money from your house.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Ross denies that she stole the money from your house. How much money do you claim she stole?
$380.
And when do you claim she stole that money?
December the 17th.
And where was the money?
It was in this folder. I've got a table by my chair, and it's right behind the table.
It was in your house.
Yes, ma'am.
Who was in the house?
My husband, myself, Justin had come over to get some gas money,
Justin is your nephew.
and then Amy.
And what proof do you have, Miss Reagan, that Miss Ross took your money?
Well, what it is that day she come over. Justin had coming over. He called first, said, could he come over and get some gas money? I keep up with all of his bills because he's young. He don't know how to do it yet. I've got a car with my name on it that's his, and...
Got it. So he wanted to come over and get some gas money that you were holding for him.
Yes. He came over, got $35, which left $380. I keep a book where I write down every time he comes over to get money. And he got it, he left. Amy was there. She asked me, why does he come over here to get gas money? I explained to her I keep his money. For what reason? Well, how much does he got in there? And I said just $380.
I'm sorry.
And then after asking me that, I didn't think anything of it. She was like, well, it must be nice to be 17 years old or 18 years old, have a brand new car, a nice apartment, and have money. And I was like, well, he's just getting started. That was the end of that. She stayed a total probably about 3 hours that day. We did go to Lowe's probably about 3 hours after her being there.
Who went?
Me and Amy.
Two of you?
The two of us, yeah. And she was talking about in that time frame how broke she was. She didn't have any money. She was getting one more check before Christmas and wasn't able to get her kids anything for Christmas. Didn't know if she had gas money to get back home. But when we went to Lowe's, she bought a hammer and pulled out a $10 bill, which I didn't think nothing of it either. You know, I say I'm broke all the time, but still had money. And so she dropped me off. I didn't talk to her no more for about 3 days.
And then you found your money missing?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the proof that you have.
Well, no, that's just the story. The proof is that whenever I called Lisa, her sister, to ask her, did you and Amy happen to have went shopping? Do you know of any money? Because we all know that she's broke. Do you happen to know of any money that she come up with recently? She didn't answer the phone. I left a message. I didn't tell her anything. I just told her to call me. When she did call me, she was like, oh, girl, I know what's going on. Amy done told me all about it. And then that's when she comes in.
Tell me your last name.
Durham.
Miss Durham, what do you know about this missing money?
Amy had called me and we just were talking and I said, oh, Christy had called this morning and she left a message. I need to call her back. And she just said, oh, girl, I know why she called. She thinks I stole her money. And I said, what? And she said she thinks I stole her money, but I didn't do it. And she's threatened to get fingerprints off that book. And the only time I touched that book was to get paid right up to get to make a Christmas list for my children.
And she said that she had told me that on the initial call whenever I called her to ask her about that, because I did ask my husband about it first, and then I asked Justin, are you sure you did not take any money out of this folder? And I knew he didn't, but I knew I needed to ask first before I called Amy to ask her about it. And all she did was just go off, fly off the handle, say, no, I didn't take it. I can't believe you accused me of that. And I said, well, all I'm saying is my brother-in-law is a sergeant. I'm going to have it fingerprinted because it is plastic. Bluffing the whole time, hoping she would come up and say, well, you know, and then she told her, kind of like giving her a reason why her fingerprints would be on it. But she never told me that.
That was the reason why.
What was the reason why? You went into that folder.
Okay.
Listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
You went into the folder to get some addresses for Christmas.
I was sitting in her rocking chair in her house.
I don't care where you were sitting. I don't care if you were sitting on a stool, on the floor, or whatever.
No,
My question to you is a simple one. You went into the folder to get a Christmas list.
No, not to get a Christmas list, to get a piece of paper to make a Christmas list.
Okay.
Is what happened.
Good. I have a few questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Who do you live with?
I live by myself.
Where are your children?
They're with me.
Have they always been with you?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are they?
They're 8 and 5.
And how do you support them?
I'm a preschool teacher and also their father.
How much do you make teaching?
I make about $1,500 a month.
How long have you been teaching?
for 6 months.
Prior to that, where were you working?
I was working at a temporary service.
You have a bachelor's degree?
No, I'm just a preschool teacher at a daycare.
Is this your first job as a preschool?
Yes, ma'am. Well, no, I've worked at another daycare prior to this one.
Did you take the money out of that folder?
No, ma'am, I didn't. And what I have to defend myself on this is I didn't take that money, and she knows I didn't take that money.
She doesn't know. Listen to me. She doesn't know. You may not have taken it.
I didn't.
But she doesn't know.
And I don't have to steal money from my children.
Listen to me.
If I need money, I go to her father.
Listen to me. She doesn't know that you didn't take it. Because my sense is that she legitimately believes that you took it.
And then she called my work, harassing me. She harassed my boss. She said, because at first my boss said, I'm not going to let you speak with her because she's in a classroom. She said,
Don't tell me what, listen to me. Don't tell me what you said to your boss.
Well, she called me at work, and when it first happened, she called me, because this supposedly I went over there on a Sunday. She called me on Thursday morning, about 11.
Okay.
At work.
Now, that's my question. This happened on December 17th, according to you.
Yes, that's when
When did you find the money missing?
the following Thursday. Because,
Too long a time, Miss Reagan.
well, what it is Justin.
Too long a time, Miss Reagan.
And she called me and threatened to take my kids away from me.
Listen,
Yes, you did.
listen to me. I don't want to hear you anymore. Cry quietly.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If I were missing money in my house, the first person that I would look at is my 12-year-old. Now, that may sound terrible to you. It's just a fact of life.
And later today,
We were driving.
Not we, you were driving.
Well, I was driving. Cars in front of us started swerving out the way, and we hit the car in front of
Not
us.
we, you.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Crystal Reagan is suing her cousin, Amy Ross, for stealing cash from her home. Amy denies the charge.
Okay, it's too long a time, Miss Reagan, between the time that she was in your house and the time you found the money missing. You may say that the only people that were in the house were you and your husband and Justin, but I'm not sure of that. Do you have children?
Yes, ma'am.
How many children do you have?
3.
How old are they?
12-year-old. I got an 8-year-old and a 9-year-old.
And only
And they also live in the house.
Yes.
I don't know who took your money.
Well, can I explain why it was Thursday when I found it?
I don't care why it was Thursday. It was Thursday. The fact that it was Thursday is dispositive, not the fact that you waited until Thursday. I have to determine whether or not there were other people who had access to that folder. According to you, the folder is not locked. It's in plain view in your house. You have 3 children, a 12-year-old.
That didn't even know I could
Listen to
money
me. Whether they know or not, children snoop. So I would say to you that without proof, the first person that shouldn't come into your mind is her. If I were missing money in my house, the first person that I would look at is my 12-year-old. Now, that may sound terrible to you. It's just a fact of life. That's it. So, in any event, as far as the courts are concerned, you need proof positive, dispositive proof that somebody is a thief. And I, quite frankly, don't find the proof here. Nor should you, when there are lots of people who have access to that folder. Does your 12-year-old have friends over occasionally?
No.
I don't believe that.
You don't?
Well, I don't believe that. Then you're not a very good mother if you don't let your 12-year-old have
He
friends
knows
over.
all.
So I don't quite believe that. In any event, you may or may not owe her an apology. She certainly doesn't owe you any money. That's all. Case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I agree with what Judge Judy said. I didn't take her money, and I don't know why she would even accuse me of this.
Just the way we caught her in the lie.
I've never stolen anything from her or anybody in my family before.
She said that she didn't take the money, which I left it at that. I just told her I was going to take fingerprints of the folder, knowing really I couldn't, and try to bluff her out of it.
It's very painful, but it's embarrassing.
I waited a day just to make sure that I felt in my heart that she did take it before I even filed a police report on it.
She said, you know you did. She just kept saying I did, and I didn't, and I know I didn't.
She steals from everybody.
She called me on Christmas Day, left a message on my voicemail saying, I hope your kids had a good Christmas with my money.
That's her. She's always stolen.
I'm done with her.
If she's going to steal from me, I'm done with that.
just don't trust your family.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Duncan versus Terradanio. Step forward, please.
22-year-old Rachel Duncan is suing her former roommate, 18-year-old France Terradanio, for breaking their apartment lease.
Miss Duncan, you and the defendant were roommates.
Yes.
She moved out after 2 months of a one-year lease. You want her to be responsible for her half of the rent for the next 10 months. Defendant says that she was uncomfortable living in the house, that you knew that because you discussed it, that you told her that you would not have any difficulty finding another roommate. She says, as a matter of fact, she thinks that you have 2 other roommates now. So let's start with you. When did you sign this lease?
October? No, September.
Don't ask me. That's October's a question. I don't know when you signed the lease.
I believe it was September.
When did you move in?
September.
Just the 2 of you?
Yes.
When did you move out?
October.
October what?
I believe it was around the 3rd.
Did you pay September's rent?
Yes.
Did you pay October's rent?
No.
But you lived there for part of the month in October.
No.
You said you moved out?
I moved out October 3rd, so I
Well, then
guess
you lived there
I
part of
was there
October.
1st and 2nd. I hadn't been there since the middle of September, though.
That doesn't make any difference, but you didn't move out until October, so at least you owe your half of the rent for October.
Yeah,
What was your half of the rent?
$600.
Now, you want to tell me why you moved out?
First of all, I couldn't afford it. Those 2 months that I did pay the $600, I was struggling just to make that $600. Work had
That's
been...
not a reason. I mean, it's not a legal reason.
Yeah, I just wasn't making the money. I was making about $300 a month.
Well, what prompted you to go into this lease if you weren't making the money?
Work had been really good. I had been working a lot, and I thought that was how it was going to continue. I'm a movie extra, so I get work. It's not consistent at all.
What else?
I just didn't feel comfortable. She kind of turned into my mama, saying who I can bring over and who I can't. My boyfriend, she's like, he can't come over to the house anymore. My best friend, Deshaun, she didn't want him coming over to the house anymore. And if I did bring them over, she would call the police. And I just couldn't deal with that kind of drama.
When did you call the police?
The very first night she called the police.
The 2 of you rented an apartment. And did you set up ground rules as to whether you could have company, whether you could have sleepover company? Did you set up rules?
Yes, we did.
And what were the rules?
Well, at the time, I wasn't getting along with her boyfriend's cousin, EJ, and I made it a point to not have him over at the house. She didn't let me know that he came over there, so when I found out, I became really upset, and he was drunk when I came over there.
Did she tell you she wanted to move out?
No, every time I talked to her, she communicated with me that everything was fine.
Yeah, but there was a time that she wasn't coming home.
I know, and I talked to her several times, but I asked her if she wanted to move out, and every time she said no.
What efforts did you make after she moved out to get another roommate?
Well, I've posted sites on Craigslist, on MySpace.
Did anybody move in with you for a brief period of time?
No, not at all.
What makes you think she has a roommate?
Because I know, I heard from her own mouth. So
Well,
has
tell
he.
me about it.
She's a girl, her name is Christy. She used to live in, she lives in Australia. But she's gonna be out here for about 3 to 6 months. And she's staying with her.
Is she there now?
I don't know if she's there at this moment, but
I don't know. I'm not talking about this moment. You said she lives in Australia. She's going to come out here from 3 to 6 months. Does that mean 3 to 6 months from now, or is she there now?
now.
Go ahead.
I have no roommate. I wish I did have a roommate.
Christy.
Yes.
Who is she?
Apparently, she's a girl who EJ cheated on Francais with, which is the reason why
listen.
she moved out. That's who Christy is. I don't know her personally.
When did she tell you she was moving in with her?
Well, Deshaun, the guy that came over to the house that she didn't want him there, he went and picked her up from the airport and dropped her off at her house. All her luggage, everything.
Where is he?
Deshaun, I don't know.
Well, that's hearsay, so I'm not listening to it. Why? Who are you?
Boyfriend, Francis' boyfriend.
What's your name?
Everett Harmon.
Yeah.
I'm the one that actually knows Christy more than both of them. And she told me personally that she's staying there. That's why when she actually said that she didn't have a roommate, it was a little weird because it makes
She have a
sense.
phone number? As if you know her?
Yeah.
Good. What's her phone number?
Actually, it's in her phone.
It's in my phone, but my phone is out.
Get it. Do I have to call her?
Go ahead.
Good. Makes my life easy. What's your address?
0 Kittredge Street.
Where is that?
It's in Van Nuys.
Woman's name is Christy or Christine?
Christy.
What's her last name? Dial the phone and give it to me. Thank you. goes to voicemail. You have another number for her? Why is this thing moving?
It's vibrating.
Have your phone call.
Hello? Tell you what, where's your cell phone?
I don't have it.
Why don't we get it?
Okay.
We're going to call her on your cell phone.
Okay.
We're going to give her the number. Give her the number.
Ready? Yes. 310-76.
Get that phone from me. Is this Christy? Christy, this is Judge Judy Sheindlin. I'm so glad I got you. I want you to listen to me very carefully. Are you visiting here from Australia? Are you on a visitor's visa? Good. When you came on your visitor's visa, did you have to give them an address where you were staying? Did you give the government an address where you were staying? And where are you currently staying? The friend's name is? Are you staying on Kittredge? Madam, I want you to listen to me very carefully. Are you staying on Kittredge Street? Very good. Thank you very much. That's it. Thank you. Very good. Your case is dismissed. Thank you very much. Let Christine pay her own rent.
Well, her boyfriend cheated on her when I informed her, and actually it's Christy that cheated with him.
It's funny. She's a hater, so I don't really care about it.
She said that he had cheated on me with this girl, but here, I mean, whatever.
When I informed her, she just started coming over the house less and less, and she eventually left.
She can get on with her life, we don't get on with ours, so.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of DeCarlos versus Yaffe, step forward, please.
23-year-old Anthony DeCarlos is suing vet technician Sharon Yaffe for failing to return his miniature pinscher, Phoenix.
Mr. DeCarlos, you are suing Miss Jaffe because you claim that because of her actions, your pet was neutered.
Yes, ma'am.
Without your permission, and she caused you a great deal of stress when she refused to divulge the name of the people who she had given the dog to when your dog turned up astray and missing. What I gather from your complaint is you were not at home. The puppy was at home with friends of yours, or roommates. And they negligently allowed the puppy to escape the house. How old was the puppy at the time?
8 months.
And how many people were supposed to be watching him?
Just one of my roommates was at home at the time.
And how did he let the dog out?
He was going to India for a trip, and he was putting up a mailbox, and we have 2 doors, and my dog got out because he left the top door open and the bottom door, and he got out while he was doing that.
So he was negligent?
Yes.
On what date did he run away from your house?
On the 25th of June.
And how long had you had the puppy at the time?
I'd had him for probably like 4 months.
Where did you get him from?
A breeder.
And how much did you pay for him?
Like $300.
Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Mr. DeCarlos?
Sorry. Yes.
Paid $300. Did you get papers for him?
Yes, ma'am. I
I'd
have
like to
papers.
see. He's a miniature pinscher.
Yes.
I had one of those when I was a child. Okay, so June 25th, the puppy escapes. What did you do to find him?
Well, when I found out, I was at the library when this happened. I came home and found that my dog was gone. And so I was like, oh my God, what happened? So I went, immediately put up flyers to find my dog around my block and everything like that. And my roommate did help me, so he did feel bad, but I can't blame him, So we
Look, stop talking so fast. Oh. Doesn't like the camera.
Probably not.
It's okay.
Phoenix.
Feisty little thing. Anyway, so you put up flyers. What else did you do?
I would put up flyers.
What else did you do?
I called.
Who did you call?
Someone that found my dog responded to the flyers, and they contacted me and let me know where they had taken my dog to.
Okay, so you yourself did not call the animal rescue, animal control.
Oh, I called. I visited numerous animal shelters around where I live, and I called the animal control where I live because I would figure he'd be around in my area. but that wasn't the case at all.
So somebody saw the flyer with the dog's picture and called you.
Yes, ma'am.
On what date was that?
I'm not sure of the day exactly.
Well, it becomes important in this scenario.
Okay, it was probably like 2 to 3 weeks later, after the 25th.
3 weeks later?
Yes.
So we're now mid-July.
Yes.
Okay. And the person who called you, just for the purpose of this, said that your dog was injured?
Right. They had told me that he had been clipped by a car, and he was fine. Like, he was, by the time they took him to the animal hospital, like, he was walking and he was fine. And they told me that they had admitted him and they gave him to a nurse, and she took him home. And then they gave me the number of the place, so I called, and she definitely agreed. She said I took him home and I cared for him or whatever. And then she gave him to sheindlin.
He's really not happy. Why don't you take him out, okay?
No, sorry.
Got a heart of a lion, that little guy. So the person at the animal shelter, they took care of your pet who had been injured.
Yes, ma'am.
And somebody was wonderful enough to take him home, nurse him back to health, and then turned him over to the defendant.
Yes.
Miss Yaffe. You work for the shelter?
I work for a shelter.
And who was it that gave you the puppy?
A co-worker of mine who was working at the animal hospital when the animal was delivered.
On what date did you take custody of him?
July 3rd, which would have been a Monday morning.
Okay, go ahead.
The prior weekend, the co-worker at my weekend job, which is an emergency animal hospital, advised she had been recuperating a dog at home for 10 to 14 days, wanted to know if I would be able to find it a home. And I told her, if it's something small with a nice disposition, nothing that bites, I can always find something small a home. I did have a friend of mine who has a geriatric miniature pinscher, and that would have been my first outlet for the dog. I picked the dog up that morning from the animal hospital, which would have been Monday morning. The animal had already been neutered.
The animal had been neutered at the animal hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
So before you took custody of the animal, it was neutered?
Correct.
Go ahead.
I picked the dog up. I called my friend and let him know what I had. He contacted his wife. He has a daughter at home who's like 10 years old. And they said they would try the dog out. So the gentleman came and picked the animal up from me that same day.
Okay. When did Mr. DeCarlos contact you?
Friday, which would have been July 7th, I believe.
Can you describe the dog?
Yes.
And when did he get the dog back?
I'm not sure of the exact day.
When did you get the dog back, sir?
I'm not sure of the exact day either.
It was in July.
Yeah, I had to get a lawyer to actually get my dog back from her. I even offered, when I spoke with her, I was like, I will pay, these people, I'll buy them a new dog. I just want my dog back. That's all that I really cared about. And she was like, no, I'm not gonna, I don't want to make these people unhappy and this, that, and the other. But I'm like, it's my dog. I came forward. It's my dog. And on top of everything, Your Honor, she lied. She was lying to me about everything.
I never lied.
Your Honor, she told me that the dog was in the facility when it was not. And I have documentation from her job right here that says that they did an investigation on her and they found her guilty of everything.
Well, let me see what you have. Miss Yaffe, you did not make the dog available to the plaintiff when he called you. You want to tell me why?
The animal had been in the home already.
4 days.
4 days.
4 days.
I was really apprehensive about contacting the people and letting them know that an owner had come forward for the animal. They've got a 10-year-old daughter. I knew the dog was in a good home, a good responsible home.
Okay. You made a misjudgment.
In hindsight, yes.
You made a misjudgment. Okay. I see Mr. DeCarlos said what it says is that they conducted an investigation to determine whether or not Ms. Yaffe's actions were within departmental guidelines of the animal control. And it says that the actions of the employees were not within our best policy nor our best practice of the police department and animal control facility, and your complaint has been sustained. Okay. So you should have gotten your dog back.
Yes.
So?
I did get my dog back. Well, the reason why I'm suing is because my dog was neutered.
That's not her problem. That's your roommate's problem. That's not her problem. Nobody did anything to intentionally inflict injury on your puppy. Nobody. What happens is when an animal, I assume that something must have happened to the puppy's tags and or chip, which you should have had. on the puppy so that the puppy could have been
Yes.
easily identifiable.
Yes, ma'am.
And that wasn't there. Am I right, Mr. DeCarlos?
Yes, ma'am, you're right.
Okay, so if you had a chip inserted in the puppy, which everybody recommends now,
Yes.
or you had a collar with your telephone number and way to contact you, we wouldn't be here today. So that's your fault. It's not her fault that your dog was neutered. She didn't neuter the dog.
Right, but she knew it was taking place, like she knew about it.
So what? Not every grievance, Mr. DeCarlos, is a lawsuit. Now, I agree with you that the defendant, and she acknowledges in hindsight, she should have turned the dog back over to you. It was a mistake on her part. She can't say, well, they've come attached to the dog in 4 days and I don't feel comfortable about calling, and say you have to return the dog to its rightful owner. But she's not responsible for the fact that your dog was neutered.
So should I sue the animal hospital that they have no documentation or?
Absolutely not. You shouldn't sue anybody. You should take your dog home and teach him not to growl. You got your dog back in one piece, and the fact that he's neutered, what difference does it make?
Well, I was planning on breeding him.
Plan something else. Your own negligence in failing to have proper identification on the dog caused the dog to go into a shelter without any known information. That's your negligence, so go sue yourself. Your case against the defendant is dismissed. Goodbye.
There's no excuse. You may step out.
He's fine. I'm glad that they did that, and I don't have any hard feelings. I just really wanted to get my dog back.
Glad to see the little dog is wearing identification.
And I thought she was at fault, so.
Spay and neuter your pets.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Gill versus Johnson, step forward, please.
Erin Gill is suing her former live-in boyfriend, Stephen Johnson, for a plasma TV he took from their home when he moved out. Stephen claims the TV was a gift from Erin.
Miss Gill, this gentleman used to be your boyfriend. You lived together for, 5-6 months. Is that about right?
A little longer than that.
And according to your complaint, when things didn't work out and you left, he agreed to keep the 42-inch plasma television set and make payments on it. It was bought on your credit. He kept the TV, he didn't make the payments, you want the payments made. Correct. The defendant says that things didn't work out, but as soon as you moved in together, you started purchasing things for the apartment, furniture, etc., all kinds of stuff. When he left with the clothes on his back and the TV, so you kept everything else and the TV is supposed to be his. Is that right, sir? That's your defense?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that a truthful defense?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever agree to make payments on the TV?
No, ma'am.
When did you move in together, Mr. Johnson?
Approximately sometime last year, I believe, in the middle of the year.
June 2005.
And when did you separate?
January of 2006.
And whose apartment was it?
It was under Erin's name. She was on the lease.
You moved in together?
Correct.
When you moved into the apartment, where did you move from?
I moved from my residence that I had shared with my husband.
And you?
From one of my friend's houses.
So you came with no furniture?
No.
Did you come with furniture?
Yes.
What did you come with?
I came with couches, a television, tables. I purchased a bed shortly after moving into the residence, so.
What items do you say you purchased for the residence, Mr. Johnson?
Well, previously to that, I had 2 dresser drawers, a barbecue set, a couple scenic television portraits, another television that I bought in the apartment to furnish it.
Another TV?
Yes.
How large a TV?
It's a 19-inch television set.
How much did you pay for it?
Off the top of my head, approximately about $150.
And where was that, in the bedroom?
I believe it was her son's bedroom.
And you left that TV?
Yes.
And the dressers, drawers, and that stuff, those are not things that you purchased?
Earlier, but not jointly.
Okay. Now, when you left, did Miss Gill say you couldn't take any of these things with you?
No.
So you could have taken your little 19-inch TV, whatever dresser drawers that you left there, you could have taken it with you, right?
Yes.
Because although they probably weren't happy with each other, this was not a hostile separation, right?
It had the potential of being hostile,
But it wasn't. Now, why, Mr. Johnson, would Miss Gill, who has a child, why would she make a gift to you of $3,700 for a television set?
basically, I left all the items in there, didn't retrieve them.
What?
The dressers.
You could have retrieved them. They were valueless.
I could have, but at that point in time, the relationship had become so dramatic. I just didn't want anything to do with her, and I just didn't want to go back. And when I left, basically with the clothes on my back.
And the one item of value, which was this $4,000 television set.
And she had asked me if I wanted to take the TV, and I told her yes. And I took the
she
TV.
said, take the TV. And what you're telling me is she said, take the TV and I will pay for it?
No.
Well, who was supposed to pay for it?
When she asked me, I assumed it was going to be a gift.
You mean in this... Listen. Ms. Johnson, so what you're telling me is in the midst of this hostile situation, because you used the word hostile.
I'm sorry?
You used the word hostile.
Yes.
You know, potentially hostile. You thought that she made you a $4,000 gift.
Well, along with all the stuff that I left in the apartment. I mean,
you left a lot of junk in the apartment, Mr. Johnson.
Maybe junk to you, but what was it to me?
Tell me what was there that you wanted. The 19-inch television set? That could have fit under one arm. She wasn't preventing you from taking it.
I could have also taken the dresser drawers and...
Well, you could have, but you took the $4,000 television set.
She asked me if I wanted it, so I'm not going to turn it down.
Go ahead.
I asked him if he wanted everything. I told him the date I was moving out of the apartment and told him if he did not pick up his belongings that were still at the residence, I would donate them to charity or drop them off at his parents' house, whatever worked for him, and he did not respond to me.
Tell me about the television set.
What would you like to know?
I want to know, what arrangement did you make for him to pay the television set?
We went into Paul's TV, which he researched and found that they had the best prices on televisions.
No, it's purchased.
It's purchased.
Already.
Okay.
Purchased on your credit card.
Right. So we buy the TV, we're in there. It was originally going to be in Steve's name, and there came up some issues with his credit, so they...
I heard that already. Okay. I want to know when you were exiting, the exit strategy with regard to the TV.
When he left?
Yes.
When he did leave, he left with just his clothes. We had few phone conversations, and he came to get the rest of his clothing and other miscellaneous belongings. And at that point, we had a conversation about the TV. And I said, would you like to take the TV and you can pay for it, or I'll keep the TV and pay for it? He said he'll take it and pay for it, and never did.
That sounds right. Nobody's going to make you a gift of $3,700. Is that what you owe on the TV?
It's $37.26.
Can I see it, please?
And here's the payoff statement as of yesterday at Wells Fargo.
Well, the total price was $37.26. You mean nobody paid for it?
No, he's been receiving monthly bills at his parents' house, and he hasn't made any payments.
So you had this TV for 6 months and nobody paid for it?
It was a no interest, no payments for, I believe, 1 or 2 years.
It was a special promotion they were running.
Yeah?
No money down, no interest, no payments. I don't believe the year has passed by. That's why there's no money due yet.
Well, that's not the issue. The issue is, at this point, you have said that you have no intention of paying this. Is that right?
Completely. Yes.
Okay. $37.26. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
Oh, Judge, step out.
The husband in there was his soon-to-be ex-husband. She had filed for divorce.
I think he's a guy with low morals.
He was very hostile.
Absolutely. He had an affair with my wife.
I had to pretty much cut my losses.
So as you can see from my side of it, I would be quite upset.
And leave the residence and lose all contact with her.
Wasn't meant to work out, and unfortunately, it ended on a bad note.
And I moved on, and I'm just thankful this is over, so I don't have to speak with her anymore.
We ended up in this forum, but things are good now.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Harris versus Bianco. Step forward.
Christopher Harris and his son, 13-year-old Darwan Palone, are suing 13-year-old Dre Collins and his mother, Stephanie Bianco, for the cost of a windshield. Darwan claims Dre was dancing on top of the car.
Mr. Harris, when I walked out into the courtroom and I saw the people who were here, I had to smile, because when you submit your complaint and your answer to the court, sometimes we see a mental image of what the people in the case look like. And I pictured very little boys, who were playing around in the backyard and decided to jump up on somebody's car and do a dance, Because that's what this case is about. You claim that this young man jumped on the hood or the roof of your car doing a stupid dance and cracked the windshield. Right? Your defense is you're not sure he's responsible for the windshield being cracked, even though he admits that he was dancing on the car, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm sort of apologizing to you, because I had this mental image that I was going to come out here, Mr. Harris, and yell at you and say, listen, these little kids, 3, 4 years old, jumping on the top of a car, you should have been there to supervise them. And then I come out and I see this person who looks like he's old enough to be in the military, right? Bigger than his mother. And I say to myself, what would prompt somebody of your size and girth to jump up on top of somebody else's car and dance? Speak!
I don't know, we were just having fun, messing around.
I'm not interested in what was in anybody else's mind, sir. I want to know what was in your alleged mind.
No, we're just having fun.
So you were having fun?
Yeah.
Try yes.
Yes.
Who was this?
Stepdad.
Does he have a car?
Yes.
When was the last time you had fun on his car?
Never.
Never. I wouldn't have fun on his car. Let me ask you a question, sir. Could you stand up for a moment, please? Your last name is?
Elmore.
What would be his last living act if you found him doing a wee-wee dance on the hood of your car?
Oh, well, he'd be beat to a post.
That's why you didn't dance on his car. And you know, your mother's a lot shorter than you are, right? She probably weighs a little less than you do. You wouldn't jump on her car and do a little dance to make you happy, would you?
No.
Because as big as you are and as little as she is, she'll kill you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Damaging other people's property isn't having fun. So his windshield on his car was cracked, and whether you did it or one of your idiot friends did it, I don't care. Pay for it. You got it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. I see a bill for the windshield, please. How many other idiots were on the roof dancing?
One. Just me.
One other.
One other
One other.
idiot.
Who was the other idiot?
Myself.
Who's Marcel?
No. Sorry about that. Hey, I was not standing on sorry about
Listen.
that.
You know what you should, first of all, you would have been able to contain yourself if your shirt was tucked in.
I'm sorry.
Good. Now you can stand up quietly, orderly. Aren't you sorry you didn't tuck your shirt in? No, you don't do it now. Were you dancing on the roof?
No.
Good. Sit down. He's too thin to break the windshield on the car. You owe him an apology.
Sorry.
$199 judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
Well, there's no excuse. You may step out.
I feel like he was on the car and the windshield possibly could have gotten cracked.
You don't teach your kids at home that you're not supposed to jump on other people's property as opposed to doing it to your own property, then you still have a lot to learn.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Tarabi versus Golden. Step forward.
Amelia Tarabi is suing her neighbor, Jessica Golden, for damage to her car caused by her pit bull. Amelia claims the dog scratched the paint while sunbathing on the roof.
Ms. Tarabi, you and the defendant are neighbors, and according to your complaint, the defendant has a couple of dogs, large dogs.
Yes.
You had a new car, and it is your claim that her dogs jumped on both the hood and the roof of your car to get the sun and caused damage and scratching to the car. You want the defendant to pay for that damage. And in addition to that, you say that you were forced to park in the street at some point and got a parking ticket. You want her to pay the parking ticket. Forget the parking ticket. You park in the street, that's your problem. Let's get to the scratched car. What kind of property do you live in? Do you live in a condo unit? Do you have a private house?
We live in a duplex, so it's just the two of our units, and there's a long driveway, and there's a gate which sections off the back where we park our cars. We're both allowed to have two cars back there.
Is it a backyard?
There's a yard, and there's also concrete driveway, as well as garage space.
Did you ever see the defendant's dogs on your car?
Yes.
When?
It was about a week after I noticed the damages. When I got back from out of town and I noticed the damages, I called her and I told her what had happened.
What you saw?
I saw dog scratches all over the hood.
I understand you say that the car was damaged and scratched. A week later, you saw her dogs on the car. Tell me exactly what you saw.
Okay. I looked out of my kitchen window as I was walking by it, and I saw her dog on top of my car on the roof where there would be a sunroof, laying on the roof.
Were her dogs regularly in the backyard without being leashed?
Yes.
Did you ever discuss that with her?
Yes, but it was just something that was put to me that's what I got this apartment for, and my dogs were going to be in the yard. So there was nothing I could do about keeping her dogs in or out of the yard, and they'd start barking at 7:30 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, but they had never caused damage to any of the vehicles back there before.
Did anyone else see her dogs on the top of your car?
Yes, the day that I looked out of my kitchen window, my friend Andrew was over, we were having lunch, and I saw the dog on my car, and I ran down the back stairs to shoo the dog off of my car, and Andrea was still upstairs.
Your last name? Labbe. Tell me what you saw, Miss Labbe, and if you remember the date, I would appreciate it.
I don't remember the exact date. It was mid-October.
Okay.
I was over at Amelia's house. We were in her kitchen. She happened to cross by the window that looked into the backyard. She looked out the window and said something to the effect of, "Oh my gosh," and ran down the back staircase. I went over to the window to see what she had seen, and as I looked out the window, I saw a white and brown pit bull sitting on the top of her car sunbathing, just kind of laying there sunbathing.
And as I continued to look, I saw Amelia go into the backyard and shoo the dog off the car. It proceeded to simply get up, walk down the front of the car, and get off the car.
You have pictures of the damage?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
There's also pictures of the layout of the backyard and all of the scratches. There's a picture of the dog as well.
What happened when you called the defendant?
When I first noticed the scratches and the damages, I called her. I was at the grocery store. I'd just gotten out of my car, and I called her, and she apologized and said that she would pay for the damages and that we had to figure out a solution so that this wouldn't happen again. And then about a week later, I got an email from her saying that she had spoken to her mother and other people, and they didn't feel that it was her responsibility to pay for the damages.
Did you have the car fixed?
No, it has not been repaired yet.
Did you get an estimate?
I did get an estimate. I've gotten 3 estimates, and I picked the one that's right in the middle.
I'd like to see you. Okay, Miss Golden, why are your dogs let out in the backyard without any supervision?
Well, it's a fenced-in yard, and that's part of the reason why I moved there originally, because it's so hard to find yard in Los Angeles. So I thought it would be great that I could have a yard for my dogs. But there is a 3-car garage that she could park her car in that she just chooses not to. If she actually thought there was a problem with my dogs, but my dogs have never...
They were on the hood of her car.
I've never seen my dogs.
I don't care whether you haven't seen it. There's
near
no question. I don't care whether you've seen it or not.
That's fine.
They saw it, and she saw it, and I absolutely believe them that your pit bull was taking a
This
sun
is the
bath.
first I've ever heard of that, so she never told me that.
That's not
She
She
said
never
that the
told you
car was
what?
scratched.
No.
She came to me.
Miss Golden, she came to you and said her car was scratched. She wanted you to pay for it?
Yeah.
She didn't say to you, I just saw your car?
Absolutely
The
not.
dog?
We were in my bedroom. She
Yeah.
came to me very casual and said, this was on October 8th, and she said, there's a couple scratches on my car that your dogs did. I go,
That's
no
not
worries.
true.
It was just something that came out of her mouth.
Oh, no.
I
Miss
said,
Golden,
no worries.
that's not true. That's not
true.
true. No, my dear.
It is
That is
true.
absolutely not true.
It is true.
I wasn't even
I mean, you
back.
could say it, and I can say it.
You were sitting
I
on- she was
guarantee
sitting on my
you.
bed.
Listen
I
to me.
remember.
I guarantee you, the last word will be mine. You want to know why? Because this is my playpen. This is my playpen. She does not look like a nut, and her friend does not look like a nut, and there would have been no reason for her to come across to your house that day unless she and her friend, who I absolutely believe, saw your dog. I mean, your dog wasn't doing anything terrible, wasn't chewing off somebody's leg, but was taking a sunbath on her car. And my question to you is, it's nice to want to have a nice backyard, but when you signed your lease, you also knew that the defendant had the right to park her car back there, as you do.
Well, because of this, I
Does
had
your-
to get rid of the
just
dog.
a second. Does your lease provide that your dogs can be in the backyard unsupervised?
Absolutely.
Let me see it.
Her lease.
I don't have the lease. It doesn't say anything about the dogs, but I'm allowed to have full reign of the yard.
I
We
just want to
share the
see,
yard.
just a second. I just want to see that your lease provides that you're allowed to have dogs that have full reign unsupervised in the backyard. Show me that.
I don't have my lease with me.
I have emails from the landlord saying that she was in
Don't
violation
tell
of the
me
lease.
what the emails from the landlord are.
There's cats also that are in the yard, and raccoons and possums, and we have fruit trees with rats. So a lot of animals come into our yard.
That's very possible.
So I have pictures of cats that were in the yard.
You have
that
pictures
were
of
right
cats.
next to
Just a second. Do you have pictures of cats that were on the roof of her car?
Absolutely not, but neither does she.
She doesn't need any pictures. She has a witness who I believe.
I have 2 60-pound dogs, and if a dog were to go on the roof of her car, I'm pretty sure that it would dent the top of her car.
You have an expert?
All
Just
the
as,
3
my
places-
question is, do you have an expert witness
Not
here
that
to
would come to-
testify
No.
that if a 60-pound dog sat on the roof of a car, it would dent it?
Not with me today, but the
Well,
people
today
that I
is when you were
called, that
supposed
was
to
what
come to
they
court,
said.
Miss Golden. Today is
I
when you
couldn't
bring
get
your
anybody
witnesses.
to come because they all had to work and nobody
Miss
wants to
Golden,
deal with court.
I'm not interested in sad stories. I'm telling you, I'm not interested in cats in the backyard, in raccoons in the backyard, unless you have pictures of them or somebody saw them on the roof of her car. She has a witness who I believe, and I believe her, that the reason she came to you was because she had this happened a week before, and she had no idea how it happened. Until that day she looked out the window, and unfortunately for you, she saw one of your dogs taking a sunbath on the roof of her car. I absolutely believe her. Otherwise, she would have come to you immediately and said, listen, I have to pin this on somebody. I might as well pin it on your dogs. Right?
Well, I didn't want to pin it on anybody, but I knew it was her dogs because they were in the backyard unsupervised and there was 3 of them.
I don't care whether it was 3 of them or not. She could have had 30 dogs unsupervised. Unless you saw one on the roof, you weren't going to convince me that her dogs are responsible.
She continued to park her car there
What?
for a month after this had already happened.
She what?
If my dogs did it, why would she continue to park her car where my dogs were and continue to let her car be damaged?
What would you prefer that she do? Rent a car
We have a
space someplace
driveway
else?
that fits full outside of the gate where my dogs usually are. There's a driveway that fits 4 cars.
Where do you park your car?
I park my car in the gate, but sometimes I park it outside of the gate.
But you park your car behind the gate. Shh, listen to me carefully. You live in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Is there a reason you park your car behind the gate?
I park my car behind the gate because I have a son, so it's easier to let him in and out.
How old is your son?
2 years old.
So he gets in and out of the car by himself?
No, I'm saying.
So what
it's
difference does it
easier
make whether you
when
park
I pull
the
in the
car
back,
in the gate?
like have the groceries and everything. I'm not
Miss
worried
Golden,
about
you got an
letting
answer
him
for
out.
everything. Judgment for the plaintiff, the amount of $2,400. That's all. Go get the car painted. That's all.
What is all this information about?
Glad it's over, and I think it's ridiculous I had to get rid of my dog because of this.
I'm just really grateful that this is over and that I can get my car fixed finally.
She put my dog in such a light that my landlord told me I had to get rid of one of my dogs.
That's not true. When the landlord found out that she had 3 dogs downstairs, they got upset because she was in violation of her lease and they asked her to get rid of her dog.
It was horrible.
The way that she handled it after I found the damages, she became really aggressive and started harassing me, and I just wanted to end the friendship right there and just get my car taken care of.
I think that she overextended herself financially, and she's been out of work for over 1.5 years, and she wanted to make a quick buck.
That's ridiculous. I didn't work for 6 months because I was taking a break, and obviously financially I'm able not to work if I'm taking 6 months off.
We were like sisters.
The relationship's over.
It's non-existent.
I'm tired of being harassed by her.
I'm hoping that she's going to be moving very soon.
I've decided to move, which is another huge financial, upgrade, but I will be glad to pay more money and get away from her.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter, Davis versus Peterson. Step forward.
24-year-old Jennifer Davis is suing her ex-boyfriend, 24-year-old Christopher Peterson, for a bounced rent check and the resulting fees.
Miss Davis, you and Mr. Peterson lived together for a period of time. He was your boyfriend. Your financial arrangement was that you would give him your half of the rent check, he would put in his half of the rent, and pay the landlord. But according to you, you gave him your half of the rent for October of 2006. You had an argument somewhere at the beginning of October where you called the police and had him removed from the house. And he left. He left and he closed the bank account on which this check was drawn, so the check bounced. You remained in the apartment and were forced, according to you, to pay the entire rent, including his half of the rent. Mr. Peterson says, through really no fault of his own, you weren't getting along, you'd had an argument, you went to the police, you had him removed, he wasn't living there, he doesn't have to pay rent, right?
That's right.
So, Miss Davis, when did you move in together?
May of 05.
And when did this incident occur? October of 06?
Yes.
What day in October?
October 9th, I believe.
Is that right?
That's wrong.
What date?
October 6th.
Now, Miss Davis, you're going to tell me exactly what happened on October the 6th.
On October the 6th, Mr. Peterson went out to my car without my permission, went into my car, grabbed a pack of cigarettes out of my car for himself and one for me as well. I did not ask him to do this. He did not have permission to go out to my car. When he came back and I discovered that he had taken a pack for himself as well, I was a little upset and I confronted him on it and he lied to me.
What did you say?
I asked him if he had taken the pack, why he had taken it without asking me, and he said that he never took a pack and called me a liar. When I confronted him on it and he lied to me yet again, I got upset and basically told him I was done with the lies in the relationship. And when I told him I was done with the relationship, he didn't take that kindly. He said he was not going to give up on the relationship, that he was not going to leave, he wasn't going to give up on us. And when I told him that he did not have a choice, because I was done, he started punching himself in the face.
Show me how he did that.
He was pacing back and forth in the room that we were talking in and just started pounding on himself.
So?
I got scared and I went over to my friend's house.
Okay, he didn't touch you, he didn't put his hands on you.
No.
Okay, so you left and you went to your friend's house.
Yes.
And
the next morning, I was afraid to go home. so I went to the police.
What'd you go to the police for? To take you home?
I did not feel safe to go home with the state of mind that he was in.
Okay, so what did you want the police to do?
To remove him.
Why?
So that I could go home.
Well, it was his home too.
But I was not safe in my own home.
But it was his home.
It was his home too, yes.
So if you're not safe, he hasn't done anything to threaten you. He hasn't done anything to harm you. He hasn't put his hands on you. If anything, he was, according to you, he was hurting himself. He was acting, in a self-destructive way. So if you felt unsafe because you didn't like his mental state, why didn't you just leave?
I didn't feel I should have to pack up everything in the apartment that was mine and leave because he was unstable.
Can I see what you told the police, please?
I filed for an order of protection. I didn't have a police report.
What did you say in the report that gave you an order of protection?
I told them exactly what happened.
No, I can't believe anybody issued you an order of protection based on that. Oh, you lied.
No.
Oh, yes, you did.
No.
You said to the police the reason that you were coming to ask for assistance is because he physically threatened you by raising an object over his head to throw it at you and yelled and screamed and called her names.
He had done this prior to this date.
You had no reason to have him evicted from the house. You had reason to leave yourself if you wanted to leave, but you had no reason to force him out of the house. None whatsoever. Okay. Mr. Peterson, you want to tell me your version of the events? What happened? First of all, I don't understand this business about going out. You live together, you're sharing a house, you're sharing a bedroom, you have an intimate relationship, and she gets upset because you went out and took 2 packs of cigarettes instead of 1. Did you go out to the car to get a pack of cigarettes for her?
I went out to the car to grab a pack of cigarettes for her. I asked her that night, and she said yes.
He'd never...
No, don't speak now. Don't speak. You have to be quiet, because it's his turn to testify. Did you see how quiet he was when you were testifying? Now it's his turn.
I asked her permission the night before to grab a pack of cigarettes.
Are you on some sort of medication? Listen to me, Miss Davis. Are you on medication?
No.
Then I can speak to you frankly. I said it once. When you were testifying, he was quiet. He didn't interrupt. Now it's your turn to be quiet and allow me to take his testimony. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
The night before, I did ask permission to go to her car and get a pack of cigarettes for myself. She was okay with that.
I don't understand why there was this whole big hullabaloo because of the cigarettes, so it must have been something else fomenting in the relationship for a while.
It was because I was also unemployed for at least 3 weeks, and she
was annoyed because you weren't working and weren't buying the cigarettes.
That's correct.
Gotcha. Okay. So what happened when you came inside, Mr. Peterson?
What happened was I came inside. I went to try to get into my bedroom. She had the master bedroom door locked. I don't know why she had it all blocked, but after an hour and a half, 2 hours later, she had the door open. There was this mysterious odor in the air, as if she was smoking drugs. She was smoking something funky.
Mr. Peterson, did you at any time on the 6th of October threaten Miss Davis?
No.
Did you at any time on the 6th of October pick up an object to throw at her?
No.
Had that ever happened in the past?
No.
Did she give you her half of the rent?
Yes, she did.
For October?
Yes, she did.
And you didn't pay any of the rent?
I did pay the rent. I had my half in my checking account. She gave me her half. When I closed out my checking account, I made sure that all the money was still in the account.
How much out of pocket are you, Miss Davis?
I'm out $914.
From what?
I gave him $467, plus his half of the rent, plus the late fees and the non-sufficient
His half of the rent he's not giving.
He's still on the lease.
I don't care whether he's still on the lease. You threw him out of the house without just cause. You threw him out by lying to the police. You're not being listened to me, and you're not being rewarded for that. If you felt unsafe about going back to your home because you felt as if he wasn't acting in an appropriate way, then you go stay with your friend, you stay with your family, you find a new apartment. But you don't lie to the police and have him thrown out. So you're not getting his half of the rent. Period. The money that you gave him, that he is responsible for if you didn't get it back. So my question is, did you get that money back?
I have not seen any money from him.
So how much was his half of the rent?
$363.
And you gave him $467?
I gave him $467.
Why would you give him $467 if his half was $363?
Part of it was supposed to go toward another bill that did not get paid as well.
What bill?
A credit card bill.
Okay, well then that's what he owes you, $467, not $900. You had no right to throw him out of the apartment. And you absolutely didn't have any right to lie to the police. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $467. That's
Do
all.
I get
Thank
the
you.
late fees or anything like that?
Absolutely not, madam. You had no right to throw him out of the apartment. None. Zero.
He could have said something, and so I could have covered the rest of the rent before it was
He
late.
could have said a lot of things. You also should not have gone to the police and perjured yourself. That's all.
He had been verbally abusive the entire relationship.
This relationship, I gave my 110%,
I was afraid to go home with him acting the way that he was.
but never worked out. She was just too ignorant.
He told me that I was crazy and whatever.
A lesson I've learned is that never trust a woman that lies a lot.
Not get together with guys like him.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Null versus Dietz. Step forward.
Deborah Null is suing former live-in boyfriend, Adam Dietz, for unpaid rent and bills. Deborah says Adam moved in 2 days after they met.
Miss Null, the defendant was a boyfriend of yours for a brief period of time. You met him, according to your complaint, while he was separated from his then pregnant wife. According to your complaint, you met him, he moved into your home shortly thereafter. You had an agreement with him that he would pay for half of the bills, half the rent on the house, because the house belongs to your mother, and half of the credit card bill that you were using because it was just more convenient. You claim that he moved out months later without paying his obligations. Mr. Dietz says that he acknowledges that he owes you a month's rent, $400. Doesn't owe you any other money. He says he was prohibited from staying at the house after March of this year. So, when did you meet him? What date?
January 12th.
Where?
At a bar.
And when did he move in?
January 14th.
Foolish, right?
Yes.
Foolish.
Very.
Shh. Why did you let him move in 2 days after you met him?
Well, he had told me that he was separated from his wife, and I didn't find out till months later that the day he got my phone number, he went home and moved out and left his wife. I thought he'd been separated for like a long
What
amount
difference
of
is
time.
that? That's not my question. I don't care if he was...
Okay, well, he had told me that he was staying at his father's house, which was an hour and a half away from his work, and I lived close to his work.
That still doesn't tell me why you let him move in 2 days after you met him.
Because I really liked him.
What?
After the initial night, I tried to leave multiple times. She threw a fit. She's been over my dad's
Mr.
house.
Dietz, why don't you be quiet for a minute?
All right.
Because the statement that you just made to me is ridiculous.
It is not,
ridiculous.
Your Honor.
Yeah, I'm telling you it's ridiculous. And I assume you don't want to appear ridiculous. Because while I don't understand why she would allow you to move in 2 days after she met you, I can understand why you would move in. Because
I can go into details, Your Honor.
I'm going to allow you to go into details, sir. It's something that I'm looking forward to with a great deal of expectation. Because I know that you have this peculiar dumb look on your face, this dumb grin on your face. You're not quite sure how things are going to go. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're going to be a smart aleck, things are not going to go well. Because she may have found you attractive enough to allow you to move into her home 2 days after she met you. I guarantee you one thing, sir. I do not. You're not my type.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's better. Now we understand each other, Mr. Dietz. Now, he moved in January 14th, and according to your complaint, you made an arrangement with him at some point to pay some rent.
Yes.
When was that?
It was February 15th.
Okay, so he lived there for a month, rent-free, expense-free.
Yes.
And when did you have this agreement with him?
Well, what had happened was he had bought me diamond earrings for Valentine's Day, and he gave me a card and asked me to marry him. So I figured if we were going to get married, then he should have to start paying rent. I'd been divorced for 3 years, hadn't really had a boyfriend, so I know I ran into it way too fast. I realized that, and I just fell in love very quickly.
Okay, so fell in love, but were practical enough to have him sign an agreement to pay you half the rent.
Yes.
And why was that?
Because my ex-husband, when we had got divorced, I was left with all the bills from him. We'd been married for over 10 years, and I wasn't going to go through all that again.
Okay, can I see the agreement that he signed? Okay, so Joanne Bird is your mother?
Correct.
She gave you a credit card?
Yes.
And you had a card made for him?
No, when we would go to the grocery store or anything that was bought for the house,
we had agreed to split whatever was bought for the house, groceries and stuff.
Did you use the credit card for anything else?
We did buy some clothes, but other than that...
No, not we, you.
No.
You didn't use the card to buy clothes?
Yeah, I bought clothes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You, personally.
Yes.
Well, he's not responsible for that.
Well, he had clothes on there, too.
Oh, well, I'm not getting involved in the credit card bill,
Okay.
madam. Understand that.
Yes.
You know, I didn't do 15 years of post-high school to go through a credit card bill line by line. If you were foolish enough to buy stuff on a credit card for him, that's your problem. How much rent did you pay your mother for the house?
I usually would give her $200 a week, and that would be including utilities and stuff. Because it's
So
all
your
included.
agreement, Mr. Dietz, was to give her $400 a month for the rent?
My agreement was to help out, Your Honor, and nonetheless, I was the only one working. She had worked at her last job.
Listen to me.
Decided that-
Listen to me. I'm looking at your answer, Mr. Dietz. You say, I do agree I owe her about $400 for 1 month's worth of rent and bills.
I never signed that piece of paper, Your Honor.
Talk
We
to
may
you.
have had a verbal agreement.
Just
but
a
that's
second.
it.
I'm looking at this piece of paper, sir. You did sign this piece of paper, right?
Yes, I did.
Well, that's what I'm reading from. It says, I
An
do
agreement.
agree. Quiet speaking. I do agree I owe her about $400 for 1 month's worth of rent and bills. You signed that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not talking about anything. I'm talking about this.
Okay. Yep, that's exactly true.
What month do you owe her for, sir?
I believe that would be February.
You lost your job in March?
I collected unemployment, which was still $430 a week.
Well, now you're not helping yourself, but whatever it is, if you want to tell me that, that's fine, because according to Miss Null, you said that because you were not working, she agreed to let things go until you got a job, until you could pay her back. But now you tell me you had the money. What month did you move out of the house?
It would have been court-ordered that we no longer be together because of accusations made by her ex-husband.
Could you just give me the month, sir? Mid-March.
Mid-March.
Okay. Now, Miss Null, he says he was no longer living there on a full-time basis after mid-March because your former husband alleged that he had abused your child while on either custody or visitation period with you, and he could no longer be in the house.
Correct.
When was that?
That was in March, but when he was not staying at my house, Mr. Dietz was staying at my mother's house.
So what?
So he was still staying in my mother's house or my house.
Well, that's not where he had the agreement to pay rent. At your mother's house.
Well, when the custody was over, Mr. Dietz came back.
When was that?
I believe the beginning of June.
And when did he leave permanently?
August 12th.
Did you come back in June full-time, sir?
I don't believe I ever came back full-time, Your Honor.
Okay. Miss Null, when was the last time he gave you money?
He gave me money sporadically, and I never wrote it down. It was very...
So you don't know how much money he gave you?
I think he gave me approximately $500 for the whole entire time he lived with me.
Miss Null, that is not what you do in court, madam. Because this arrangement didn't work out and because he went back with his wife, you can't come to court and say, well, he gave me money sporadically. You have what you allege to be a contract.
Yes.
So that what you have to do is when he gives you money, you have to write it down, memorialize it, give him a receipt, write it down exactly how much you get so you know how much is did. You can't come in here and say to me, well, I think he gave me $500 while we were together in February, which is the day you say he signed this, and March he left, but then he came back in June. Now, he says he owes a month's rent. That's what he says. And you don't know how much he owes you.
Well, this is exactly what happened. We were supposed to get married August 12th or 11th. And when we got married, we were going to claim our taxes together. And that's what he had told my mother he was going to pay her back with, was his tax check.
You didn't get married. You didn't get a joint tax check. And you have no idea of how much he actually owes you. So what do you want me to do?
Okay.
Listen, you make bad judgments and sometimes bad things happen, madam. You made a very bad judgment. You don't meet somebody in a bar and allow him to move in 12 hours later into your home. Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff, the amount of $400, which is the amount that the defendant acknowledges that he owes you. That's all. Step out.
I judge you, sir. Wait here.
I was in love with him, so I just kept giving him chance after chance, which is stupid on my part.
She never worked the whole day, the whole time we were together.
Well, at first I was really heartbroken, but now I'm not.
The whole time she's spending money like crazy.
I mean, look at him, so.
She should be happy she's getting the $400, let alone anything else.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter, Spurgeon versus Stephan. Step forward.
Jennifer Spurgeon is suing her son, 25-year-old Ozzie Stephan, for bail when he was arrested for writing fraudulent checks.
Miss Spurgeon, you are willing to acknowledge here in court that this is your child.
Yes, my son.
According to your complaint, he owes you for bailing him out of jail.
Yes, he does.
He says he never asked you. You bailed him out on your own. What were you in jail for, sir?
I forged some checks in '02.
For forgery.
Yes, ma'am.
And the forgery was in 2002?
Yes, ma'am.
When were you incarcerated?
New Year's Eve '05.
Is that because that's when you were arrested or because you violated your parole or probation?
That's when I got arrested.
For the forgery in 2002?
Yes, ma'am.
It took him 3 years to figure it out?
It took him 3 years to catch me, ma'am. Because I didn't do anything else wrong.
Is that the only time you've been arrested?
No, ma'am.
Between 2002 and 2005, how many times were you arrested?
0.
Before 2002?
Couple, 2 or 3.
For what?
Me and a couple of my friends stole a racing four-wheeler.
Stole a what?
A four-wheeler, a racing four-wheeler when I was 17.
How old are you now?
25.
Oh, that's a long time ago. What else?
Possession of marijuana.
When was that?
I was 19.
Anything else?
Possession again.
Don't learn your lesson.
No, ma'am.
Now, is that forgery case resolved at this point?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it resolved after a trial or a plea?
After a plea.
What did you plead guilty to and when?
I pled guilty to forgery. I'm not sure. It was the last case was just resolved 2 months ago.
Which last case?
Well, there was 3 counties the checks were in. It was 3 different counties.
Where'd you get the checks from?
A friend of mine.
Whose checks were they?
His checks.
You stole the checks from him or he gave them to you?
He gave them to me.
To do what with?
To get money.
What were you using the money for?
All kinds of different things.
So it took whatever county was 3 years to figure out what was going on. So you were arrested December 31st, 2005.
Yes, ma'am.
What was your bail?
In the beginning, it was $89,000.
Was your friend arrested too?
I don't have any idea.
Why was your bail so high?
Because of the amount of checks that there was.
How much?
I don't remember.
Give me a ballpark figure.
$1,500.
How long did you spend in jail?
46 days.
Was that the first time you had been incarcerated?
For 46 days, yes, ma'am.
More than a day or two?
No. It was the second time.
How long was the previous time you were incarcerated for a substantial period?
A couple days, no.
A couple of days?
Yes, ma'am.
So this was 46 days?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you like it?
No, it wasn't fun at all.
How many times did you speak to your mother? Did you call her?
Oh, yeah.
You call her every week?
Every couple days.
What'd you talk about?
Everything. How I was doing, how I was feeling. Was I learning anything? Was I going to do it again? My daughter. Yeah.
You have a child?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you do for a living now, Mr. Stephen?
I run a concrete business.
What?
Custom concrete business.
Custom concrete?
Yeah.
You work all the time?
Most of the time.
You make a living?
Yes, ma'am.
You filed tax returns last year?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. How much did you earn?
I don't remember.
Ballpark.
$35,000.
Nice. And you only have one child?
Yes, ma'am.
Who do you live with?
I live with my father.
Still working the same business that you did last year when you were...
No, ma'am.
Making $35,000?
No, ma'am.
So you left a good business and you went into the custom concrete business?
Yes, ma'am.
So you must make more money?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Now, it's one of the things you spoke to about your mother, how unhappy you were in prison?
In jail? Yeah, of course.
Did you discuss with her bailing you out?
It came up time to time.
How did it come up?
I would ask her, she would bail me out, and she would tell me no.
And? But look where you are. You're here. 46 days later, you're here. So how did it come about, sir, that you got bailed out?
I finally made it to the last county that I was going to, and I made a phone call to my mom, and she had said...
You made a phone call to your mom at the last county. Shh. We do everything my way here, because it's my playpen. So you finally got to the last county where you had to show up for arraignment, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And the bail in the other counties had been sort of resolved, so you were waiting to get to the last place because they weren't letting go of you until you got to the last place, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So now you got to the last place and you called your mom and you said...
Hi, Mom, what's up?
And she said...
Basically, that's what I called her and said, hey, how you doing? And she told me to call her back in an hour. She was working on something.
And that's all you said to her. Hi, Mom, what's doing?
How's it going? Yeah.
How's it going?
And she...
All right, good. Now he's at the last county. What day is it, Mrs. Spurgeon?
Around the 7th or 8th of February, 06.
And he calls you from the last county that wants him.
Yes.
Right? And what does he say to you and what do you say to him?
He was pretty upset.
What did he say?
Mom, I can't take it anymore. You've got to get me out of here. I've called Grandma. Grandma can't help. She has no money. She's on disability, my father's pension. And
is this your mother?
This is my mom.
Mm-hmm.
I told him that I couldn't get him out. I didn't have any kind of money. All I had was my credit cards.
And he said?
I got a friend that's a bondsman. If you'll call him, he'll cut us a deal.
He said?
Ozzy gave me the name of the bondsman to call.
Did you call?
I did call him, yes.
And did you get a deal?
$1,500 is not a deal when, I didn't get to spend any of it. I had to give it away.
Is that what it cost you to get him out?
Yes, all totally.
What's your mother's last name?
McMullen.
Would you step up, Miss McMullen? How many grandchildren do you have?
17.
Is he one that you like?
He always calls up and says, "This is your favorite grandson." I said, okay.
Yeah, he's got a gift of gab. Did he call you from jail and ask you to bail him out?
Well, he said he needed help getting out, but...
Did he call you?
Yes, he did, several times.
Several times. And he said, I need help getting out?
He wanted to get out.
What did you say to him?
I can't help you. I'm on a fixed income, so I can't help you.
And what did he say to you?
I know. I guess he was fishing.
How many times did he call you? Trying to see if he could get some money?
3 or 4 times, yeah.
Remember calling your grandmother?
Sure.
Did you ask her for money? Remember calling your mother?
Sure.
Did you ask her for money?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Now we got it. Now you can be seated. Thank you very much. See, I knew you might lie about your mother, Mr. Stephan, but I knew you wouldn't lie about your grandmother. You made some payments to your mother on this bail. How many payments did you make on the bail?
I gave her a couple $100.
Just answer my question.
I gave her a couple $100.
$200.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what he gave you?
He actually paid it to the bonds company.
How much does he still owe? When you paid off the entire amount?
$1,350.
Okay, so these are my questions, Mr. Stephan. When you forged those checks with your buddy and got some cash, whatever it was, $1,500, did you buy anything for your mother?
No, ma'am.
Did you buy anything for your grandmother?
No, ma'am.
Did you give your mother any money?
No, ma'am.
Did you give your grandmother any money?
No, ma'am.
Did your mother get any enjoyment whatsoever from the proceeds of your forgery?
No.
Did she know or in any way help you forge those checks?
No.
So that when you got busted for check forgery, this was owing solely to your bad behavior, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Why should anybody else suffer for your bad behavior?
They shouldn't.
Great. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $1,350.
Thank you, Judge.
I mean, I never asked her to bond me out of jail,
I didn't want to sue my own son.
She came and did it out of her own free will, and this is what happens.
But I didn't see any other way to get him to realize it's time to grow up.
I'm just glad that, it's settled and now I can pay my mom back.
He needs to be responsible, stand up, be a father.
No, I still love my mom. I'm sure that she loves me too.
I love him, but it's time to grow up.
I'm not gonna go to jail again.
Oh, I'm putting him on notice.
27-year-old loan officer Richard Sinise is suing his former friend, loan officer Melissa Trekkie, for half the commission on a loan.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 273 on the calendar in the matter of Sinise versus Trekkie. Vice been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. Sinise, the defendant was a friend of yours for several years and a co-worker at a mortgage refinance company.
Yes, ma'am.
Your lawsuit alleges that you brought in a customer to refinance his mortgage. He was a friend of yours. And then, unfortunately for you, you were violated on a parole violation and you were sent to jail. You asked the defendant if she would like to finish the loan application with the agreement that she would split the commission with you. She agreed. And you were in prison for how long?
6 months.
When you got out of jail, you called her and said, "Where's my check?" And she says, "I'm not giving you your half of the check because I did all the work." That's your defense.
Basically. I have a little bit more to say about it.
Well, I hope not much more, madam. Let's see what we can agree upon.
Okay.
How long have you been working at this mortgage finance company?
Approximately a year.
And how much of a commission do you get when you refinance a loan?
It was 60% of all of the total fees that were involved in the loan.
So let's say I want to refinance a $100,000 mortgage. What would your commission be?
I'd probably make about $2,500.
What's your friend's name?
Paul, ma'am.
That's not him, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, good. Very good. Paul, step up, please.
Sure.
Paul, why did you want to refinance this loan?
I was going to invest in some other property I had, and it seemed like the interest rates were right at the time.
So you contacted your friend?
Yeah. I mean, I knew he was in the business. He told me he had just started working there, so.
You thought you'd give him the business?
Absolutely.
When was this?
I would say probably end of October, maybe the beginning of November, we started talking about it.
Of 2005?
Yes, correct.
And did you ultimately refinance your house?
Yes, I did.
Through the company that they worked for?
Yes, that's right.
And how much was the refinance?
I don't remember the exact, I think it was around 250 something.
Mr. Sinise, how much was it?
The total refinance was $235,000, ma'am.
Is that correct, Miss Tracky?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what was the commission on that?
I ended up making $4,660. I have to check it. $4,666.51.
That was your entire commission?
Yes.
Now, when you found out that you were being violated, by the way, what were you violated for?
Dirty urine, ma'am.
Not smart. Right?
Right.
When you found out that you were going back to serve the rest of your term, what was your conversation with the defendant?
I had called the defendant that night, and I knew she was in financial hardship, and I could have used the money as well to make my car payments while I was away. So I asked her if she would be willing to finish the loan, and we would split the commission 50-50, and she agreed to that.
Okay. The loan was completed, and you got no money.
Correct.
Okay, Miss Tracky, now I'm waiting for the explanation.
Okay. When this all happened, he asked me to do the loan. There was nothing done on the loan initially. He had just talked to him and said, okay, I'm going to refinance your house. So
he was the rainmaker.
Excuse me?
You know what that means, rainmaker?
No.
That means he brings in the business. Because without his bringing in the business, there would have been nothing for you to share.
Correct.
So he didn't do anything on the loan but bring in the business.
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay. Initially, the loan amount was supposed to be over $300,000. We went over the paperwork, the disclosures that he had printed out from when he, put the loan together.
When who put the loan together?
In the computer, put the loan together. You just print out paperwork.
So he had done something.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
He put something in a computer.
Yes, he did.
That's more than I could do. Go ahead.
Okay. We had gone over exactly what the loan was going to be and like I said, the loan amount was going to be larger because he had stated to me that he knew the value of the property, which was...
All right, I thought it was going to be $300,000. It turned out to be $235,000.
No, it was supposed to be about probably $50,000 more, correct. So, the loan amount. Because you wanted... Okay. So, I asked him where he got that figure from, because that obviously makes...
You had to get to a point.
Okay, so he made up the value of the property. When I found out the real value, we had to cut the original amount that we were supposed to split. We were supposed to split $9,000. That was the original total.
You could have backed out any time. Miss Tracky, first of all, this loan was completed... Listen to me. Hey, the loan was completed what month and year?
It happened just after January 1st, 2006.
Okay. Since January 1st, 2006, how much money have you made at the company?
Well, I left that company probably a few months later than that. I would say $10,000.
Since January 1st, 2006, how much money have you made?
$50,000.
I hope that the IRS is listening very carefully. How much money have you made since January 2006?
To be honest, I didn't file my last taxes. So,
Ms. Track,
yes.
If you decided when you got into this loan with Mr. Zemanek that the loan amount was inadequate for you to break a sweat and complete, you had that opportunity. But you had a contract with Mr. Sinise. Your contract with Mr. Sinise was you were going to split the commission. It wasn't I will split the commission with you of $9,000.
That was what our...
No, it was not. Because that amount fluctuates. You got $4,666.51. Now, do you think that I think that Mr. Sinise said to you, I will split the commission, but if it's $4,666.51, you can keep it all yourself?
No.
Yeah. No.
But when you're dishonest with somebody about the original contract, and I found that out through
Say
the process...
no, my dear. Say I don't want to do the loan.
Well, he was in jail, so I
say, Mr. Zemanek, I don't want to do your loan. It's not worth my while to do your loan for $4,666.51. I would rather make nothing. I would rather make nothing than make $2,300. It's not worth it to me to make this lowly amount of money, especially when I don't have to share it with the government.
Well, I got an extension.
I am filing.
No, the time to file, madam, is past. Let me explain something to you. It passed October 15th. If you got a 6-month extension, it's over. Finished. They're going to come looking for you. They're going to steal your clothes. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $2,333. Thank you very much. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It's like, I definitely didn't backstab my friend because we had been friends since then. He told me to forget about the money until he got mad at me.
She didn't want to do me a favor when I was incapable of doing it myself.
Because I didn't do him a favor and get perfume for his girlfriend.
1 cent just cost her over $2,300.
He's wrong.
26-year-old Nicole Hunsinger is suing her former live-in boyfriend, 25-year-old Brian Moss, for rent, an unpaid loan, and a cell phone.
All rise. That's case number 160 on the calendar in the matter of Hunsinger versus Moss. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat.
Miss Hunsinger, this used to be your boyfriend. You lived together for a period of time. Your complaint is threefold. First, you say that you made a loan to him a little over a year ago. Mm-hmm. He needed some money for a lawyer and for some fines. And while he paid you back some, he still owes you money.
Yes, ma'am.
Second, that you ultimately broke up with each other. You moved out of the apartment that you were sharing and both contributing to, with the understanding that Mr. Moss was going to pay the rent. He ended up not paying the rent, and in order to preserve your credit, you paid the rent because you were also on the lease.
Yes, ma'am.
And then some nonsense about a cell phone. I hate these cell phone cases. I think that they ought to abolish the ability of people to get cell phones for other people. If you can afford a cell phone, you get a cell phone. If you can't afford a cell phone, you don't get a cell phone. Aren't there still things on the street where you could put in a quarter and make a phone call?
I'm not sure. It's been so long.
I think that there probably are, or else you wait until you get home, or write a letter, or use a stamp, or something. But if you can't afford a cell phone out there in television land, don't get one. And don't get anybody else one.
Copy of this for my kids.
Would you do that?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll get you one.
Thank you.
Anyway, when did you move into this apartment together?
February 13th of 05.
And what was the rent?
$425 a month, everything included.
And your arrangement was that you split the rent?
No, ma'am. We decided to, because I had more bills going out monthly, that he would pay majority of the rent and I would help him pick up whatever was left of the monthly rent.
So how did you deal with that each month?
Every week he would get money from his paycheck. He would put it in an envelope in the apartment. When rent was due, whatever money wasn't there to pay the rent in full, I would put in.
Is that right?
Yes.
So how much did you put in?
I was anywhere from $50 to $100 a month I was putting in my own money that he was short.
And what were you paying for?
Car loan, insurance, student loans, credit card bills, the cell phones.
Okay. And when did you move out?
I moved out shortly after we broke up on July 1st. I called the landlord, said I was leaving, and told her why.
Why were you leaving?
I found out some stuff that he was doing behind my back, and that did not make me happy. And then we got in an argument. It got heated. I didn't like the situation, so I left.
Did you make any arrangement with him about staying in the apartment, or did you just leave?
I left, and I called the landlord, told her where I was and why I left. She said that if he would agree to go on the lease.
That's hearsay. Now, she left in July. When did you leave?
I left in August, I believe.
Think carefully.
I think it was September, October.
Think carefully before you give me an answer.
October.
August, September, or October?
October, ma'am.
Mr. Moss, I want you to try not to irritate me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a very low threshold.
Yes, ma'am.
So you left in October?
Yes.
October what?
Beginning of October, ma'am. I'm not sure what day.
I believe it was the 7th.
7th.
Well, the 7th is into October, so you owed rent for. You left in July, so I assume you paid July's rent.
No, ma'am, I didn't.
Why not?
Because he obviously had paid it because they didn't notify me that he didn't.
Did you pay August's rent?
Yes, ma'am.
September?
Yeah, I believe.
Not all of it, ma'am.
Not all of it.
I think you should have stayed with her because she could finish your sentences because you're having these mind lapses.
Yes, ma'am.
How much of October's rent did you pay?
I believe about a little over $200, ma'am.
October?
October, nothing in the beginning.
$425 in October. And how much of September's rent did you pay?
A little over $300, ma'am.
How much?
I ended up having to put in, with his late fees and the remainder of the rent he didn't pay, it was $157.50.
Plus the $425 for October.
Yes, ma'am.
And what about November, December, and January? What did the landlord do with November, December, and January? Do you have an agreement with him?
I have their paperwork right here.
Can I see it, please?
And the second page is in bill form at what I paid.
All right, Mr. Moss. Now let's have your defense with regard to this rent, which she paid to the landlord in the amount of $1,275, which covers October, November, and December's rent. Come on. Come.
Well, she ended up moving out in July, leaving me with the rest of the lease, and from what I told the landlord, I figured that since she...
Why did she move out, sir?
We broke up, so she moved.
Why?
Because she wanted to live somewhere else, I guess.
You think so?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't think that there was any cause for her to leave?
We just broke up, and that was it, and she decided to leave.
Well, so it was an amicable breakup, according to you?
It was just pretty much she broke up with me, that was it.
Listen, do you know what the word amicable means, sir? Was it an amicable breakup? Amicable breakup usually means that two people sit down and say, listen, we have this lease, let's see how we can resolve this. You know, I can stay in the apartment and you leave, or you stay in the apartment and I'll leave, and this is the way we're going to resolve the bills, and this is the way we're going to resolve the loan.
It was amicable at first, ma'am.
It was at first. We agreed on some things, and it was.
What did you agree on? Mr. Moss?
Basically, what I agreed on was that I can, for as long as I could, I can, maintain the rent.
No, Mr. Moss, that's not what you said. What do you mean, as long as you could, you would maintain the rent?
I didn't say I was going to do it until the end of the lease, Your Honor.
Where are you living now, sir?
I'm living in another apartment now, in the same town.
With whom?
Myself.
What's the rent?
$320 a month.
So that's a difference of $100 a month in the rent.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you had paid this landlord $320 a month rent, she would have been relieved of the burden of paying the landlord $1,275, right? The landlord would have come after her for only a few $100s, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So why didn't you do that? It must have cost you something to move.
It cost me quite a bit to move, but...
So why did you move?
I couldn't afford to stay there at that time. I had to borrow from friends just to move to another place. But I couldn't borrow enough to actually maintain there, and then I didn't want to just stay there anymore. It was just...
That sounds like a lot of double talk to me, Mr. Moss.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What did you need a lawyer for, Mr. Moss?
Identity theft.
Whose identity did you steal?
Father's.
Father pressed charges?
Yes, ma'am.
He must have been really angry with you for something else.
He told me his father was dead.
And later today...
You have another phone now, sir?
Yes, I do.
Good. When did you get it? Look at me. When did you get it?
When did I get it? I don't know.
When did you get it? That's a question. I ask the questions, you give me the answer. When did you get the phone?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Nicole Hunsinger claims ex-boyfriend Brian Moss owes for rent, a cell phone bill, and attorney fees after he was arrested for identity theft.
Okay, now let's get to the loan. When did you make this loan and for what?
It was for attorney.
What did you need a lawyer for, Mr. Moss?
I had another court case, Your Honor.
What kind of court case, sir?
Criminal court.
For what?
Identity theft.
And? Whose identity did you steal?
Father's.
Your father's?
Yes, ma'am.
How much money did you rack up before they found out?
$1,087, ma'am.
Father pressed charges?
Yes, ma'am.
He must have been really angry with you for something else.
I haven't talked to him about 7 years, ma'am.
Apparently, he told me his father was dead.
Okay. Did you receive probation in that case?
No, it was, if I didn't get trouble for 6 months, it was a sponge.
It was what?
A sponge. It was just gotten rid of.
You had an adjournment in contemplation of dismissal for 6 months?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have to pay restitution?
Yes.
And what was the restitution?
$1,087, I believe.
And fines?
No fines.
And how much was the lawyer?
Lawyer was $1,500, and that was it.
And who gave you the money?
Miss Hunsinger.
But the retainer wasn't all the way barred. Sorry.
How much did you pay her back?
I paid for the first few of the monthly payments of the lawyer's fee.
How much?
The loan fee. I'm not 100% sure, man. It was like 4 months.
How many months did he pay you back?
He paid for the first 5 months of my loan payments.
And how much were the loan payments?
They were $113.35 a month.
Why did you stop?
Because she had left. I had lost contact with her. She asked for the phone back, and that was it. And I hadn't seen her since then. I only seen her once or twice. Yes, ma'am.
So at this point, Mr. Moss, we are acknowledging the loan.
Yes, ma'am.
in the amount now, according to you, of $2,142.
Yes, ma'am.
I have to see what he said about this answer. I didn't hear anything. She never said I had to pay her back.
Shit, I did that on my own accord.
He gave me his word.
Okay. So far, Mr. Moss, I find the following, sir. That you had, according to you, an amicable initial breakup.
Yes.
The discussion was, and this is what I find, not what you say,
Yes, ma'am.
that you agreed to stay in the apartment and she was leaving.
Yes.
And if you agreed to stay in the apartment and she was leaving, that means that you agreed to cover the rent. And you didn't. And I have verification from the landlord that you didn't pay the rent and that she did. And that, as a matter of fact, you moved into another apartment at practically the same rent. So you really could have stayed there and maybe been shy a couple of $100, not the $1,275 that she had to kick in. So I believe that you had an agreement with her to stay there for the duration of the lease. Did you move someplace else?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you move?
I moved across town with a friend.
You pay rent?
Yes, ma'am.
How much?
$465 split half, so it's for $232.50 a month I pay.
Maybe if you had a friend, Mr. Moss, you could have gotten yourself that kind of situation. In any event, I also find that you owe her for the remainder of this loan that you stopped paying. That's $21.42. Those two figures together are $34.17. I want you to do this cell phone really fast.
I can...
Miss Hudson.
Real briefly, yes.
Really fast, because you know how irritated I am with cell phones already? Go ahead.
He just said that we lost contact and this is why he wasn't giving me money. Well, the last loan payment I paid was August, which was a month after we had broke up. I did receive money for the August payment, so he had the cell phone in order to keep in contact, to make arrangements to get money to pay the bills. And, well, my cell phone bill here of 5,977 minutes, 5,977 in one billing cycle. Everything in this that's highlighted orange is a number, a dating service he was calling, and porn numbers on my dime.
What months was he doing that?
From April of 05 to October of 05.
While you
even when
while you were living together?
Yes, ma'am. He was calling a dating service when we were together.
Why weren't you getting the bills? It was your phone.
After the first two billing cycles of our cell phone bill, they stopped sending a detailed bill. Well, after I allowed him to keep the phone to keep in contact with me, I got detailed 60-page bill for one bill.
Should have gotten it before, Miss Hunsinger.
Yes, ma'am. I know.
Should have gotten it before. Because you're going to deal with that cell phone bill. It's going to make you smarter for the future. Going to make you smarter and stronger.
It will. He will. He's going to never again.
Good girl. Who is this?
That's my stepfather.
Looks like a nice man. All right, Mr. Moss, there are no free rides in this world, sir. You owe her $3,417. You're a very lucky girl.
Thank you, ma'am.
Right? Thank you. The first mistake that you made was, as soon as you found out that he had stolen his father's identity, you should have packed your suitcase and fled.
I'm aware of that, but he told me he was dead.
He told you
He told me his father was dead until
and it
he
was
got
okay
charged.
to steal his identity because he was dead?
He came back from the dead and...
Do you understand what I'm
yes,
saying to you?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
You know,
I do.
You have to hire a lawyer, and in order to get an adjournment and contemplation of dismissal, unless the DA is not playing with a full deck, which is an ACD, which is what he got, he has to plead guilty. He has to say, I did something wrong, which he sort of acknowledges that he stole his father's identity. And you had to know that in your soul. Right? How old are you?
I'm 26.
26. And you?
25, ma'am.
Is this your first arrest, sir?
No.
Got it? Kiss the ground. Look up to God and say, thank you, God. Before I got further involved with him, before I made a baby with him, before he took everything that I have for now and the future, move on.
Yes, ma'am.
Kiss goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I just think it's wrong, but, I mean, there's nothing else I can do about it, so...
A slime. That's all I can say. He's a liar.
It was just funny because everything was a gift until we broke up.
Nope. Not a gift. He knew they were loans, and he agreed to pay him back.
Basically, she was trying to hold everything that we ever had together over my head, and I just couldn't take it anymore.
He's a liar. He's a criminal. He's a liar.
Pretty much, we just didn't see eye to eye on so many things.
I won't trust again. It's going to take a long time.
19-year-old Ashley Usman and her mother, Lynn, are suing 19-year-old Alexandra Benjamin and her mother, Cynthia, for damages from an assault. Ashley claims Alexandra set her up for an ambush.
All rise.
Yeah, this is case number 62 on the calendar in the matter of Osman versus Benjamin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
I'd like the moms to have a seat, please, because you are really just nominal parties here, since you have no first-hand information about what happened. Miss Osman, Miss Benjamin used to be your best friend. And according to what I've read in your papers, about a year ago, you were the victim of a vicious assault, and you were injured. That assault was over some social relationship, and it was perpetrated by some girls. It is your claim that your former best friend really set you up for that attack. And although she didn't physically participate in assaulting you, it was through her actions that you were placed in a position where you could be assaulted by these other girls. And you want her to compensate you for that. Miss Benjamin says that is not true. It's hard for her to believe that you could even think that about her, despite the fact that there is some evidence that is, in fact, what happened. So, when did this attack take place?
March 28th of 2004.
What time?
Approximately 1 o'clock in the morning.
Where?
Oasis truck stop in Little Chute.
And in what state is that?
Wisconsin.
I'd like you to tell me about that evening. Who were you with? Where were you going?
On the night of March 28th, Alex came to pick me up.
This is Alex.
Correct. She came to pick me up and she was with Emily, one of her friends, and she said we were going to a party.
Did you know you were going to a party before she came to pick you up?
No. She always comes and picks me up and we just go out and do something.
Was this a weekend?
Yes, it was.
Go ahead.
So she came and said we were going to a party. Then she was with Emily. She said we had to go to the gas station. We had to go and pick up one of our friends, Justin. We went and picked up Justin. We went and got gas from the gas station. Then she said we were meeting some people. So we waited there, and then...
At what time was this?
Probably about 9:45.
Okay.
Then when we were waiting there, two girls showed up, Lindsay and Wendy. These two girls, Alex had known that they had not liked me.
Don't tell me what she knew.
Okay.
Did you ever tell her about a problem with Lindsay and Wendy?
Yes, several.
What was the problem with these two girls?
They hadn't liked me because Wendy said that I had slept with her boyfriend, which was not true, but they've been harassing me, stalking me, coming to my house, calling me, and Alex...
Both of these girls?
Yes.
Lindsay and Wendy?
Yes.
And you confided in your best friend that that was going on in your life?
Correct.
Okay, so you're at the gas station now, and these two girls show up?
Yes.
Those are the two people that she was waiting for?
Yes.
And then you left?
Yes.
What did you say to her?
I said, what are they doing here?
And what did she say to you?
She said they're following us to a party.
Is that correct?
Your Honor, it wasn't like that.
Just answer my question. Is it correct that you were waiting at this gas station and that when Lindsay and Wendy showed up, you left and Lindsay and Wendy followed you in their car to the party?
Yes, that is what happened.
Okay. I deal with objective information. Now you're at the party. Go ahead.
When we get to the party, I immediately ran up to one of my friends. His name is Brandon. Ran up to him, asked him if he could give me a ride home. I did not like these girls. I knew that they didn't like me.
So that the girls were at the party?
Yes.
Miss Benjamin, Miss Osmond was your best friend?
Yes.
How old are you?
I'm 19 right now.
So you were 17 at the time. And you were?
17.
And you were well aware of the fact that Lindsay and Wendy had been, according to your best friend, harassing her?
Yes.
Now, when was it on or before March 28th of 2004 that you spoke to either Lindsay or Wendy?
I had never spoken to Wendy, Lindsay.
Well, you had an arrangement for them to follow you to this party. There's no question about that. You're going to tell me how that came about.
The boy that we had picked up, Justin, one of our friends, we were all at the gas station and he used my cell phone while I was pumping gas. And when I got back into the car, it was not to my knowledge that the two girls were Wendy and Lindsay. I had not known that it was those two girls, and had I known, that would have never taken place. Ashley was my best friend, and I have known of them threatening her and coming after her before.
Go ahead.
She met with them the day before at the mall. She saw them there. I had never met with them at the mall.
How do you know she did?
They had said that in the past previous courts, and I think it's in some of these statements.
Now, it should be noted that these two girls, Lindsay and Wendy, were both found guilty of assault. Was that correct?
Yes.
Did they take a plea, or was there a trial?
There was a plea.
Plea, okay.
It's right there. It's
Well, this is a police report that says, this is by Wendy, police report that says, me and Lindsay saw Emily and Alex at the mall, and we told them that we were going to a party in Kakuna that Justin told us to go to. And they said, yeah, that's where we're going, and Ashley is going to be there.
Your Honor, I understand that it says that in the statement. I have it in mine as well. But I also have pages where it also states from Wendy, Lindsay, and Nikki, another girl that was involved in assaulting Ashley, that there were no prearrangements. All these
This doesn't say prearrangement. I'm taking this step by step, Alex. So far, I don't have a prearrangement to beat her up. It is my intention to go almost moment by moment, because that's how I'm going to get to an ultimate decision. Do you understand? So if you don't tell me the truth about something, I'm going to know that. The pieces fit together. So you're telling me this casual meeting at the mall never took place?
It never took place.
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That's what you want me to believe?
Yes.
Even your mother doesn't believe that, because your mother looked like a smart lady.
No, Your Honor, I do believe that.
Well, then I'll send you to the same place I'm going to send her.
19-year-old Ashley Osmond claims former friend Alexandra Benjamin owes for damages from an assault. Ashley claims Alexandra had her beaten up.
Okay, so you're at the party, you're trying to get a ride home. You're not happy with Lindsay and Wendy being there. What happened?
I asked Alex to take me home. She said no, because she didn't have the gas money to drive me home, even though we had gotten gas at the gas station. So then I ended up going upstairs to a bedroom upstairs, and I sat upstairs just waiting.
Why didn't you call your mother?
I don't know why I didn't.
Well, that was stupid.
I know.
You understand that?
Yes.
If you're frightened, you're in a situation that you feel is threatening, you should have called your mother. She would have come and gotten you.
I know.
Right?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
I didn't think that Alex would let anything like that happen, and so the whole night while we were there, I was sitting up in the room by myself. She was downstairs at the kitchen table with Emily, Lindsay, and Wendy, talking the whole night, whispering back and forth. I'm not sure what they were talking about.
Why didn't you take her home?
I did not take her home, Your Honor, because we had all gone to a party together and nobody wanted to leave, and I understand that.
I'm not saying nobody. This was your best friend.
I know.
Who you were aware had bad karma with these two girls and was uncomfortable being at a house party with the girls being there. And she asked you to take her home. If my best friend was there, I would take her home under those circumstances.
I understand it was my mistake. I did not take her home. I should have right away.
Right. What were you discussing with these two girls?
I was sitting at the kitchen table where the other girls were sitting, but I was not interacting with them at all.
Well, how many people were sitting there?
5 of us, including me.
Lindsay and Wendy were there. And who were the 2 others?
Emily and my friend Brandon.
And who were you talking to?
I was talking to Brandon.
Only?
The main of the time, yes. He was a very good friend of mine.
And who was Emily talking to?
I do not remember.
She was talking to anybody?
I wasn't paying attention to who Emily was talking to. But Ashley is my best friend, and I'm not going to interact with Wendy or Lindsay.
I wouldn't even sit at the table with them. How far, Miss Benjamin, was this party that you ended up at from where Miss Osmond lives?
About a half an hour away or so.
And how far away from where she lives do you live?
About 5 minutes.
So you left the party at about 12:30, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
So if you left the party when you got there at 10 o'clock, you could have taken her home and been back at 11 o'clock, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go, Miss Osmond. So you're upstairs in the bedroom.
So then finally Alex comes upstairs. She says, okay, we're ready to go.
Who were you with upstairs?
Myself.
Go ahead.
She comes upstairs, says it's time to go. I said, okay, we go downstairs, walk out to the car. Once we get in the car...
Where were the 2 people that you came with?
Emily was downstairs, and Alex came upstairs to get me.
No, there was a guy who was in the car as well.
Justin stayed at the party.
Okay.
Then we left the party, and as we got into Alex's car, Wendy came up to the window and gave her 75 cents. I didn't know what it was for.
What was the 75 cents for?
So I could get something to eat.
Were you hungry?
Yes.
How would Wendy know you were hungry?
Because I was talking to Brandon about it.
Miss Benjamin, I'm telling you right now, this story is starting not to make sense. According to you, you're sitting at the kitchen table. You're not interacting at all with Lindsay and Wendy because you would never do that to your best friend. Now you want me to believe that despite the fact that there was absolutely no interaction between you and either Lindsay or Wendy, Wendy came outside and gave you money for food.
Yes.
Because she overheard you in your conversation with Brandon saying, I'm hungry. That's what you want me to believe?
Yes.
Even your mother doesn't believe that.
No,
Even your mother doesn't believe that, because your mother looks like a smart lady. Okay, let's
No,
move
you're
on.
right. I do believe that.
Well, then I'll send you to the same place I'm going to send her.
No, I
Don't
don't.
speak. Don't speak. I'm not speaking to you. If you believe that story, you need to go to a doctor to get your head straightened out. Because so far, that doesn't make sense. It's a lot that doesn't make sense, but that piece doesn't make sense. So Wendy gave you 75 cents to get something to eat for you.
Yes.
This girl that you had no communication with, that you've never met before, that you didn't see at the mall the day before, that you shunned at the kitchen table because you would never speak to her because she was an enemy of your best friend. This person came out and gave you money so that you could get something to eat.
Your Honor, there's more to it.
Oh, well, you going to tell me what's more to it?
Yes. When I was sitting at the table with Brandon, as well as Emily and Nikki and Wendy being there, no, Ashley being my best friend, I'm not going to have direct conversations with those girls. But I have known them for what they have done to Ashley, and I have met them.
Just tell me what happened. You said there's more to the story. I want to hear the story. What happened with the money?
Everybody was talking about how hungry they were, and nobody can eat the food that's in the house because it was our friend's parents' house. So she came out when I was leaving and gave me 75 cents, and then asked me if she could follow me to the highway because it was a new development and she did not know how to get out. I wasn't going to be mean. She had never done anything to me, so I said sure. I did not expect anything else further to happen.
Okay, so let's figure out what we know, Miss Benjamin, objectively. We know that your best friend was frightened of these girls and was in the car with you at a gas station where you said, we're waiting for two people. We know objectively that the two people who arrived were Wendy and Lindsay. We know objectively that you led them to the party. We know objectively that your best friend said to you, I'm very uncomfortable, could you take me home? We know objectively that you refused to do that. We know objectively that your best friend went up to the bedroom and stayed in the bedroom until you came and got her and said, now I'll take you home. We know objectively that you tell me that you're sitting in a confined area at a kitchen table with Lindsay and Wendy, who you claim you had no communication with, but only spoke to one of the other people. We know objectively that when you finally went upstairs to get her to leave, one of the girls who you had no conversation with, who you ignored at the kitchen table, and who you knew was harassing her, came out and gave you money. You knew that she wanted to leave because she was afraid of these two girls, and you knew that, according to you, when they said, could you lead us out, that was a very dumb thing to do.
Yes.
All right. Now let's move on.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Don't speak. That's why you're sitting. Now you're leaving the party.
Yes, and as we're leaving, I noticed that they're following us. I asked Alex why. She said because they didn't know how to get out of the developments where we were. And I thought it was a little weird just because they had... Okay.
Don't tell me what you thought. I'm not interested. As Miss Benjamin now understands, I am interested only in objective stuff. Don't tell me what you were thinking, what you were feeling. I want to know what happened. They followed you out of the development. Then what happened?
Then we were getting on the highway. They were still following us. Alex said, I'm hungry. I want to stop and get something to eat. I said, they're still following us. Can you wait until after you drop me off? She said no. She ended up stopping.
Where did she stop to get something to eat?
At the Moesis truck stop.
Go ahead.
So then once we get there, Alex gets out of the car, goes into the gas station.
Where's Emily?
She's in the front passenger seat of Alex's car. I'm in the back seat.
And you're about 20, 25 minutes away from your house, or closer?
I'd say probably about 15 minutes.
So you're 15 minutes away from your house and 20 minutes away from her house?
Yes.
Where there's, I assume, plenty of food?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So then once we get to the gas station, she goes in. Then the two girls pull up alongside of us, and Alex goes in the gas station. Lindsay and Wendy go into the gas station. So then as I'm sitting in the car, I see Lindsay and Wendy come out of the gas station. Lindsay comes up to the window, starts banging on the window, let me in, let me in, let me in. And then after she was banging on the window, she said, unlock the doors to Emily.
So Emily was playing with the locks, unlocking them, locking them, saying, I don't know how to get the door unlocked. So then she's banging on the window. Finally, Emily opens the door. Lindsay gets in the car. She hops in the front seat and she kind of straddles Emily and is facing towards the back seat towards me. Starts yelling, swearing, saying names, and she starts hitting me. Then I see Alex come out of the gas station. Alex just walks out. She's standing at the front driver's side of the car, just standing there. And then Wendy comes out of the gas station, gets into the car, and they both just start attacking me, punching me, kicking me.
Where's Emily all this time?
Sitting in the front seat. And Alex is standing out by the front driver's side, standing there, while they were attacking me. Then finally, I don't know about how, it was however long the fight lasted.
It wasn't a fight, it was an assault that was in the car. Go ahead.
So then one of the, I don't know if it was Alex or Nikki, they were both standing by the front driver's side, said, okay, leave, the cops are coming. And then they took off. Alex and Emily were still left there. They brought me inside of the gas station, into the bathroom. I think it was the gas lady attendant. She had called the police. They had came, and from there they took me in the ambulance to the hospital. I have pictures if you want to see.
I do.
Okay.
Do you have the plea minutes of these two girls? They were arrested, both Lindsay and Wendy.
Yes.
And they pled guilty to what?
A felony battery assault.
Were either one of them incarcerated for any time?
Yes.
What did the two girls say to you when they came into the gas station?
I was going to the bathroom and I was getting something to eat. There was no conversation between us at all.
You saw them, however?
Yes, I saw one of them in the gas station.
So what did you do?
I quickly paid for my food and...
You bought your food?
I was already at the cash register when I had turned around and saw Lindsay inside of the gas station.
Didn't it strike you as odd that they followed you into the gas station?
Yes.
At what point did you call the police?
After the girls had left, I took Ashley inside and I told them...
After the beating?
I was helping her.
After the beating?
Yes.
Why didn't you call the police before? Are you an idiot?
No, Your Honor. I was helping Ashley getting...
You weren't helping her. I said to you when you got into the gas station before you paid for your food, you saw that these girls who were then, you should have known, were up to no good, followed you to the place where you were.
I had not known that they had followed me to the Moises.
You just said to me, I came out of the bathroom and I saw them there. And I hadn't paid for my food yet, so I paid for my food.
I was at the register and the lady was ringing up my food. I gave her my money and I went right outside.
Why didn't you tell her to call the police?
Because I didn't know that anything was happening outside of the gas
station. Well, where was your head?
I did not.
There are a whole lot of serendipitous events here, Miss Benjamin, that you have a problem knowing about.
The conclusion of the case between Ashley Osmond and Alexandra Benjamin will be on the next Judge Judy.
They both just started punching me, kicking me.
The dramatic conclusion.
When you are hurt like this, you want the people that are involved to suffer.
To a Judge Judy event.
You don't try to set up innocent people. That's psychotic.
For car damages and harassment.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2003, Gaines versus Gaines.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
Miss Gaines, you and the defendant are half-sisters. You share the same father.
Yes.
Have you always had a relationship with your father?
Yes.
And you, Miss Gaines?
Yes.
There came a time when you were living with your dad.
Yes.
From when to when were you living with your dad?
From October 2018 to December 2021.
And who was living at the same residence?
It was me, my dad, and a roommate, my dad's roommate.
No children?
Yes, my children stayed there as well. I do apologize.
That's important.
Sorry.
How many children?
I have 4 daughters.
How old are they?
11, 10, 4, and 5.
Were you working?
Yes.
From 18 to 21?
I stopped working in November 2019, and I started back working October 21.
What kind of work do you do?
I work for United Healthcare. I'm a customer service rep for Optum.
Just so that I get a sense, because this is a family issue, you clearly had a life before you moved to your father's house in 2018. Could you tell me why you moved to your father's house in 2018?
Because where I was living, the house was smaller, and my dad felt like he wanted me and my children to be in a safer environment.
So you had an ongoing, constant relationship with him?
Yes.
And Miss Gaines, tell me about you. Did you ever live with your father?
I lived with my father when I was in the 9th grade.
But not since you were a child. Did you maintain a relationship with him?
I did. Me and my father do mechanic work together most of the time, so I'm at his house a lot.
Was that a business that you had together?
Just more so for fun, family time. If he needed help, I could go in and assist him. I just use that as extra time.
And that was consistent and up through 2021?
Yes.
So you saw your sister there? Because she was living there with her children?
Yes. On occasion, though, her and her kids would be out more often. I would just go and visit my dad when the house was empty and he needed more company and help and assistance because he was there alone.
How old was he?
He's 24 years older than me, so I believe he's like 59 now.
Did you see your sister at your father's house in the years that you were living there?
She came to visit, yes.
And they worked together on mechanical stuff?
I never saw that. Me and my sister, we had a close relationship, so she would come over and hang out with me all the time.
Okay, good. And then, unfortunately, something happened. Do you want to tell me when that was and what it was?
October, I believe it was the 30th. Me and my sister, we got into an altercation.
Tell me the beginnings of it, because each of you claimed that the other harassed, claimed your sister assaulted you, and both of you claimed some damage to automobiles that was caused by the other during the course of these altercations. Okay, so tell me what happened in October.
So the Thursday prior to the 30th, which was a Saturday in October, my sister was supposed to come to my house and do my kids' hair. But that was something that I had just asked her to do. Like we said, I stayed with my dad. They were having some issues, so
Who was having issues?
My sister and my dad.
Were you having issues with your father around that time?
I was told I was having issues with my father at that time by my sister Jessica.
Did you discuss it with your father?
I did, and I found out that that was a lie that Jessica had told him, was making up lies to make us not like each other.
Okay, so there was some bad feeling about that.
Right, so I was inviting her over because she was struggling, and I needed my kids' hair done for picture day. So
she was what?
Struggling.
Struggling.
Financially.
Okay.
So I offered to pay her to do my kids' hair. My dad did inform me that she wasn't able to come to the house, that I needed to go to her house. And I don't really know what her situation was like over there, so I let my dad know I was uncomfortable. And I also let her know our dad said it was not okay for you to come over here with us today. And he wanted an apology.
He wanted an apology?
Yes.
From her?
Yes.
Is your father well?
He has diabetes and...
Okay, but there's nothing preventing him from coming to court. Okay, well then you can't tell me what he told you because that's hearsay. Did your sister come over to the house on October 30th?
Yes.
Approximately what time?
I believe 11:30 in the morning.
Had you had a conversation with her that morning and told her not to come over?
Yes.
Did you tell her why?
Oh, I can't speak on it because he's not here.
No,
I don't.
My question is, did you tell your sister why?
Yes.
What did you tell your sister?
That our dad would not want her there.
Is that what she told you?
That is what she told me.
Did you ask her why?
I did.
What did she tell you?
She told me that my dad was under the impression that I was hanging out with drug dealers and dangerous people, and that he didn't want me around.
Did you call your father?
I did.
And you had a discussion with him?
I did.
Were you invited over to the house?
I called.
That's either a yes or a no?
No.
So now you have information, whether accurate or not, that you weren't welcome in your father's house for whatever reason, or for the reason that was articulated to you. You called your father to confirm that, and your father did in fact confirm that.
He confirmed that there was an issue between Jessica and I, and that we needed to resolve it. He was not going to get involved with it, but he did not confirm that I was denied access to his house.
Well, just from my information, what did you think the issue was between you and your sister?
She was lying to my father.
Well, no, your father didn't say that your sister's lying to me. Your father had to have indicated to you that these are the things that I'm being told, and you have to resolve that with your sister.
Yes.
But your father told you not to come to the house.
No, he did not tell me not to come to the house.
Did he suggest you come to the house?
Neither. He neither suggested I come or not to. He just said I should
resolve it with her.
Yes.
Okay. And you went over there that morning?
I stated to her that I would come over and resolve it right then and there.
You told him?
They were both on the phone. Okay. I called his cell phone.
Did your sister, then your sister said, I'm going to come over And you knew she was coming?
Yes, she said.
Okay, just that's a yes. You knew she was coming, so this wasn't a surprise visit. You knew she was coming. Now tell me what happened when she got there.
So when she gets there, me and my dad were standing outside already. She gets out of her car. I approach her car. It's a little back and forth, and then...
No, tell me the back and forth, and try to keep your voice up.
Sorry. So when I approach her car, she jumps out the car. Then she reaches for a taser, so then I close her in the door. And once my dad, we were outside together, he pulls me off the door. She then takes her car, it's a video. She's attempting to run me over with her car. She did manage to run over my foot. I then went in the house. I got a broomstick, like an attachment, like the broom wasn't attached. But I've got the broomstick, and I went outside and I started swinging it at her car. And I damaged the hood of her car and the window.
And then she left?
No. She stayed at the house. I went back in the house. She called the police, and I'm not sure what happened after she called the police.
Well, did the police arrive?
My dad informed me that we didn't know what she was telling the police, that when police come, everybody gets arrested. So he said, I had something to do that day, go get a facial, an appointment at 1 o'clock. So I just went ahead and headed off to that.
So you left?
Yes.
You knew she called the police and you left, leaving your dad to explain to the police what happened?
My dad didn't talk to the police neither.
So they just came?
As far as I know, they just came, knocked on the door when I called to see if there was a report made. The police said no report was made. That was it.
Okay, fine. So the damage that was done to your car was done with a broomstick handle?
Yes.
To her car?
Yes.
By you?
Yes.
Now, Miss Gaines, did you have a taser in your car?
I don't own a taser.
And when you got to the house, your father was standing with her?
No.
Where was he?
He was exiting the house. She was already... When I pulled up, she was exiting the house.
But he was outside?
She was already at the sidewalk when I pulled up. So he was at the door.
Well, why don't you tell me your version of what happened when you pulled up?
I pulled up. I was recording the incident on my phone. I don't have that recording because it was on Instagram. I didn't want the embarrassment to go on any longer. I tried to screen record it, but it didn't save.
Okay, so you don't have video?
I don't have that full video. I do have a short video of her actually attacking the car with the stick that she came out of the house with, though. So I do have that.
I'd like to look at it.
I have the full video.
Okay, I'd like to see hers, and thank you for telling me you have the full video.
Okay. I think the full video might be more sufficient because I have bits and pieces of the video.
Kevin, I'm going to take both. Would you pull up the video that you have on your phone?
We're going to go over to my family member's house right now to find out why we want to fight me. And she has literally did everything in her possibility to make my dad my enemy. She has moved into his house, told him I'm on drugs. My family have come with the excuse that I'm on drugs, and that's why nobody has come to see me. Yeah, do it. I'm on live.
First, Miss Gaines, you do understand that you damaged your sister's car?
Yes.
Okay, and that you have to pay for that.
Jessica Gaines claims her sister, Joanne Gaines, vandalized her car and harassed her. Joanne is countersuing for an assault and filing a false restraining order against her.
Okay, Miss Gaines, you do understand that you damaged your sister's car?
Yes.
Okay, and that you have to pay for that?
She sued me for the damages already.
She sued you? Did she get the damages?
Yes.
Oh.
She was granted.
Okay. Okay, so you sued her already and you got a judgment?
Yes, for that incident.
For this damage?
But not the damage that would happen on December the 12th.
Just a second. Okay, so we don't have to deal with this damage. And subsequent to this damage that you caused to your sister's car, you had damage to your car?
Yes.
And tell me what that was.
So on 3 different occasions, she came to my house and popped both of my tires on the driver's side of my car.
Okay. And this was after October 30th?
Yes.
You'd been living at your father's house for 3 years?
Yes.
With your children. During that 3-year period of time, was your car ever damaged?
No.
Did you ever have tires popped on the car?
No.
Did you confront your sister at any time about the damage to your car?
No.
According to this, you have a video of her near your car.
Yes.
On one of those occasions.
Yes.
I'd like to see it. Before I even look at it, Miss Gaines, you received a judgment and were compensated for the damage to your car caused by your sister. Do you acknowledge that you or someone acting on your behalf flattened her tires?
One tire.
Okay, so you say you flattened them one time.
One tire, one time.
And when?
Right before November.
Okay, and what did you flatten the tires with?
Knife.
So you
Just one
slashed.
tire.
She did say tires, didn't she?
One tire.
She said one tire, one time.
Okay, and that was in November.
Beginning of November.
Did you pay for that tire?
I did not.
And do you have photographs of the flattened tires?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at them. How many times were they flattened?
My tires were flattened 3 times.
Tires. How many tires the first time?
2.
How many tires the second time?
Sorry, I just want to make sure. 2.
How many tires the third time?
2.
And you filed a case against your sister for damage to your car on what date?
This is the court case I filed for damages for my car. Well, originally I just filed for...
When did she file the case, against you for damages to her car?
December 16th.
And your tires had already been flattened how many times?
3.
Do you have a bill for those tires?
Yes, well, I had took the receipt before, so I don't have the receipt, but I have the police report.
No, I want to see the receipt.
I'm sorry.
I need damages. You want damages, you have to show me that you spent money to replace the tires and how much they cost.
Yeah, I'm sorry. When I went to court, when she was suing me for her car, I just took the receipts as proof, and when the judge took it, I never got it back.
Did you countersue her for the tires when she sued you?
No.
Well, why would the judge take your receipts for the tire?
Because he took all of our evidence at the end of the case.
The only reason a court would take your evidence is if you had a counterclaim for your damage.
I'm new to the court thing, so I didn't know to countersue. So when I had to file paperwork, so when I went to court on our court date, I was just letting the judge know, like, look, she did these damages to me. I didn't file a countersue claim. I didn't know I had to do that.
The judge looked at it and didn't return that to you?
He said any evidence that we wanted to be taken into consideration, to leave it with him. And I left it with him.
And what kind of tires did you purchase?
I believe they say Bridgestone on them.
And what's the name, make, and model of your car?
It's a 2005 Cadillac Escalade.
So can you give me any information about that, Sarah? Cost of cars, 2000 Escalade, what kind of tires it uses? Okay, so the harassment that you're talking about by your sister, because that's the other part of your claim. The vandalism is one, which Sarah is looking up now. The damages for harassment were the tires being slashed, is that right?
A part of it, yes.
Well, what's the other part?
Well, when I filed for the restraining order, the judge said it sounded like a family matter, so it didn't.
So the court dismissed it?
Yes. So on December 24th, which was Christmas Eve, I woke up and my tires were popped again. So I then asked my dad, is it okay if I record you reaching out to my sister, asking her to leave me alone, so that if I do go to court again, I have some evidence? Because again, my dad didn't come to court back then. And he was like, I don't think I can do that, because then she'll start messing with me, and I can't afford to be down in the morning.
Okay.
And then I was just like, okay, well, at that point, I didn't feel safe there no more, because she had already called Children's Services on me. And then every 2 weeks, my tires were being popped. I really couldn't afford it.
I got it. Do you recall how much you spent for each tire?
Each tire was $120.
So you spent a little over $700?
Yes.
Okay.
That's about right, from what I'm seeing.
Okay. So, Miss Gaines, let me tell you how I'm going to rule on her request for damages for her car. But I believe that some things it makes sense and some things don't. And if somebody has an MO of slashing tires as their reaction to having their car damaged, and if you acknowledge doing it and doing it one time, it is not a giant leap from my imagination that you caused the same damage to all 6 of her tires. I don't find that a giant leap. I think the whole thing is foolish, and I actually don't see the basis for coming out with a broomstick, except that you were angry and lashing out at her car. You could have stayed in your house and called the police. There was no reason for you to come out of the house at all, except to confront your sister. You had an application for a restraining order against your sister?
This is correct.
And you had a trial on that?
This is correct.
And you were granted a restraining order?
Yes.
For how long?
6 months.
And that expired?
It hasn't expired yet. This was an incident that was caused by her coming to my house after court.
Okay.
And causing more damage.
Okay. So I think that she had the right to file for a restraining order against you, because part of your action is filing false restraining order. Part of your case was for vandalism to your car, but that was already done in another court.
That was part of the first case. We've been going since October.
Okay.
Jessica Gaines accuses her sister, Joanne Gaines, of slashing her tires. Joanne claims she needed to file a restraining order against Jessica.
Okay, let's get to the assault part of your claim that I would like to hear. First, I watched the video, and I have to tell you, Miss Gaines, that in my judgment, what you took a big whiff of was a blunt. Is that what they call that?
That is.
Okay. And that's what was in the video, and that's while you were on your way over there and very, very angry and driving a car and lost in a sea of smoke. You understand? And I think that that's both foolish, bad judgment, dangerous to drive a car that way.
I agree, I'm sorry.
And shows an absolute lack of judgment. So I would think about that kind of behavior. Again, if I were you, you want to tell me when and under what circumstances your sister assaulted you and where you were hospitalized or treated medically?
When I pulled up to the house, she had asked me to jump out of the vehicle.
How did she ask you to jump out of the vehicle?
She was standing on the sidewalk. I was putting the car in park, and she stated, hop out. And I said, okay, I guess we're hopping out.
That was sort of silly. If somebody said to you, hop out, I would stay in the car.
I'm trying to talk to my dad. I have a...
Okay. Well, you talk to your dad later when things have calmed down and you're not high on weed.
I understand that you...
You got the damages for your car by way of a judgment. I've awarded you for the tires $726. $726 for the tires. That's the judgment of the court. We're finished. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I only slashed her tires one tire, like I stated.
It was fair.
There's no receipts that were presented, so they were never damaged.
We got it. We got the proof, so.
She stated that I ran her over by the car, but she was walking back into her house. How are you walking if your foot got ran over by a car?
It's embarrassing.
Jealousy? Maybe I don't feel that way. This is my younger sister. I love my younger sister. I don't wish that this wasn't even going on.
I really hope we have a better relationship going forward. I hope this is all over and behind us.
Yeah, there's no more family for me, I guess.
You know, we're siblings. Siblings go through stuff.
So, my Sarah, the case to me, we've seen it before, siblings fighting, very unfortunate. So I'm going to ask you a question, because I know I come from separate generations, 3 down from you.
Okay.
And I've already accepted the fact that many states in this country have voted in favor of legislation which suggests that marijuana is a legal substance and decriminalizing it. Fine, just like alcohol. Yes. That's what my grandchildren tell me. You drink alcohol, we do something else. But am I crazy? Because I watched that video, and to me that was the most interesting part of the video. And then she took this big cigar thing, which I found out what those were called back in my family court days, and it's interesting that I could recall it, called a blunt. Tell me what you think. Would it be no different if she took a big bottle of vodka from the passenger seat and took a couple of swigs before she got to a fight?
Yeah.
Okay, I want your take on that.
Yeah, even as a different generation, there's responsibilities and regulations and rules, the same with alcohol. So while it might be legalized, decriminalized in many states, you still have to follow the rules and act responsibly. I think there are different physiological effects.
Would you say that there was any jurisdiction in this country where you could smoke marijuana while you were driving.
I think it's still considered under the influence, which is just as bad as driving under the influence of alcohol. So I think it impairs your judgment all the same. And showing up to a fight high, I think, is equivalent to showing up drunk. And
even if you were going to a party.
Yeah, you're behind the wheel of tons of weight and something that could be used as a deadly weapon. So you gotta be as sharp as you can.
Yeah, just from this interaction, you're absolutely right legally, but I'm not getting the outrage.
No, outrageous. I think it is.
Okay.
I think driving under the influence of marijuana, alcohol, outrageous.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad you...
Case number 2024, Morgan versus Davis. All parties, please step forward.
Corey Morgan is suing dress designer Jacqueline Davis for party costs and a dress deposit.
Ms. Morgan, this is what this case is about in a nutshell. You were celebrating a birthday. When was your birthday?
March 24th.
And you always make a big deal, according to you, about your birthday. It's a very important day of the year for you and for everybody who knows you.
Correct.
Yeah, that's the way Sarah feels, actually. Me, I sort of like to forget birthdays now. I like it to run right by that day as undercovered as possible. Anyway, you celebrate your birthday with a big party. Right. And according to you, you get a spectacular dress for this party, invite everybody that you know and care about. How many people were you having for your birthday party?
It was going to be about 12 people.
Where was it going to be held?
It was going to be at the James Harden restaurant.
Who was going to be there?
My best friend from Chicago, my mom, my dad, just an intimate setting of family. And
Mom, Dad, your best friend from Chicago. Who else?
Just family, cousins, aunt.
And you couldn't get the restaurant for that day, so you made it in April on a different day than your birthday.
Yes, I originally booked it in January 18th. The restaurant, it's a big deal, so yeah.
Whatever. It was postponed until what date?
Yes, ma'am, April 1st.
Okay.
Corey Morgan says dress designer Jacqueline Davis is responsible for party costs and a dress deposit. Jacqueline is countersuing, claiming Corey owes for travel costs.
And you ordered your dress from the defendant. You found her through a mutual friend because she makes wonderful clothes. The defendant also is a tax preparer, I understand. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So she's busy. So she makes clothes. She's a tax preparer in season. You made arrangements with her to make your dress, and she was going to make your dress at the cost of $300. According to you, you didn't get your dress in time. It was never fitted at all after your initial measurements were taken. Is that correct?
Yes.
And since you didn't have the dress for your dinner, you had a terrible birthday, you canceled your birthday, and you want her to pay for the dinner.
Yes.
That's not
build up.
That's Miss Morgan. How old are you?
I just made 35, so it was the build up leading to it.
So if you turned 35, I'm a lot older. Sarah's younger, and my other grandchildren, were around that age. I have one that's close to your age. I cannot imagine any of my older grandchildren, or me, for instance, canceling an event because I didn't have just the right dress. I mean, it's not as if a bride is canceling her wedding because she didn't have a wedding dress to wear. Of course, if you want to get married badly enough, you put a sack over your head with a tie and you walk down the aisle. But you don't cancel the wedding. So you want her to pay for the deposit that you made on the dress.
Yeah, it was.
And another $1,000 or more because you didn't have a nice party.
So originally when I booked it, it was for April 1st. When I tried to rebook it because she told me at the last minute that she was not going to be able to do the dress, which was the week of. I had originally set up for her to do the dress so I could have something to wear. I purchased shoes, nails, everything.
I understand everything. She's not going to pay you for the party. You should have worn something else for the party. Believe me, your best friend from Chicago, your mother and your father would not have cared if you wore that dress or any other dress. You should not be out a penny.
I was out of penny.
Well, you were out $150. You gave her $150. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I gave it back to her. I sent her a refund.
Oh, you did send her a
refund? Yes.
Did you? Just a second. Up. When did you send her a refund, Miss Davis?
I sent her a refund on March 29th. She requested a refund on March 28th, and I sent it directly to
her on March 29th?
Yes.
How did you send it? By check or?
She sent me the money via Cash App, and I returned it via Cash App.
Do you have verification of that?
Yes, I do.
And she kept that money?
Yes.
Is that correct, Miss Morgan?
Yes, ma'am.
That's just a yes.
Yes.
Well, what did you think you were taking that money for? You asked for a refund, she gave you a refund.
I gave her $150 and she sent me $105 back, but she sent it the week of my event.
I don't care the week of your event. Did you send her 105 or?
I did.
Why?
Because I was charged a fee with Cash App, and also there were additional items that were purchased that I told her about that I deducted from that.
You can't deduct anything from that. And you can't even deduct the fee from Cash App because what it cost her was more than $150 then to send it to you, right?
Right.
Right. So why should you send her less?
Because I previously explained to her that I needed to order stones. Those stones were ordered.
Oh, then you're going to have to eat those. You didn't have the dress in time. You didn't have the dress in time.
The dress was done.
No, it wasn't done. Not even according to you was it done. She hadn't had a fitting on it. The problem is you gave her money, and you should have sent her exactly what it is that she sent you, because you didn't fulfill your end of the contract. A day before the party is not the time to say it's 95% ready. Okay. She has to give you $145.88, which is exactly what she received. Am I correct that that's what she said?
That is what she said.
$145.88. Okay. She doesn't pay you for your disappointment, for your sorrow, for your party costs, or anything else, just for my own information, because that's my judgment. Did you spend your birthday with your mother and father? That's either yes or no.
No, ma'am.
Who did you spend your birthday with?
My boyfriend.
Ah, was he invited to the other party?
The dinner, yes, but I had to cancel the dinner.
I'm just asking.
Yes.
You didn't have to cancel the dinner because you didn't have a dress. That's what I'm trying to get to you. You could have gone to your dinner in that dress. I know, it's silly, and it's a little bit immature also. What about your best friend from Chicago? You told her not to come in because you didn't have a dress?
Well, I told him that I would be canceling the dinner because I purchased shoes, my nails, everything was accustomed to the dress. So when she didn't deliver the dress, everything was already in black and silver. I did not have a chance to go look for anything because it was the week of.
Oh, yes, of course you did. Of course you did. Black and silver. You put on black pants, black top, and you put on a silver around your neck. We're done here. Don't be ridiculous, Miss Morgan. You have to grow up a little. You have to give her back her money. Don't disappoint people. I mean, I know it's busy. It's tax time. You said to her, I'm busy. I'm working on things for the Oscars. You can't overstretch yourself. I know that it's very entrepreneurial to try to do too much. But sometimes when you try to do too much, you disappoint somebody.
Court is adjourned.
I'm not happy about it just because I'd already given her a refund.
I'm happy with the decision. It was pretty much principle for me. She was very unprofessional.
And given from the beginning, I worked with her.
And she didn't respect my time, and she canceled on me at the last minute.
And she waited to the last minute and canceled the order. So
she canceled at the last minute because she didn't have the dress ready to begin with.
Everything was really on her, but she put it on me because she was unhappy with how she chose to deal with the whole situation.
Will be getting another dress with my original person that I was going to go to.
Absolutely not.
But from now on, I definitely will be going with who I know.
Will not work with the plaintiff again.
So I remember seeing through COVID a lot of wedding dress shops closing down, and the stress of brides going for fittings and seeing their dress, picking their dress, and then the shop just closed right out from under them. I wonder if any of them canceled their wedding because they didn't have the right dress.
I think that one of the life's lessons is as you get older, you have to prioritize the importance of things.
True. Spending time with friends, family, out of town, coming for your birthday. I couldn't imagine canceling an event just
because you didn't have the right
outfit.
dress. Because you didn't have the right dress. So I think that there's a lot of growing up to do. Maybe a little less narcissism, because it would seem to me spending time with your boyfriend, your mother, your father, your best friend from Chicago is more important than having the right dress to fit your nails and your shoes.
I agree.
Derek Kwan is suing dog walker Danielle Lancaster for damages resulting from a dog attack.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case number 2002, Kwan versus Lancaster.
Mr. Kwan, succinctly, your case involves an attack of a dog that was being walked by Miss Lancaster. She was a dog walker. She didn't own the dog.
Correct.
The dog got away from her, and according to you, attacked your dog, and you want to be compensated to the tune of $10,000.
Correct.
You were neither hospitalized, correct?
I was not hospitalized.
You were neither hospitalized, and your dog was not hospitalized.
Correct.
I assume that you have some medical evidence as a result of this incident to show me that you suffered from a dog bite.
Yes.
Okay. And the dog bite was from the dog that was being walked by Miss Lancaster.
Walked is, I'm not sure if I would use the term.
She's a dog walker.
Yes,
She's
but
a
it was
dog
off
walker.
leash.
She's not the owner of the dog.
Correct.
The incident happened at what date and time?
December 22nd, 2021 at approximately 1:30 p.m.
And you were walking your dog, which is what breed?
A 20-pound wiener dog mix.
And you were a dog walker. How long had you been in charge of walking this dog?
At that point, it was about a week.
What kind of dog was it?
I believe it was a boxer mix. Not 100% sure.
How old?
2, 3 years old, give or take.
Who are the owners of the dog?
The owners, I can't remember their name. One of Mike, but I don't remember their last names. But
Do you remember the owners' names?
Yes.
And it would be fair to say that you knew their names because you tried to sue them.
I contacted them, yes, but did not sue them.
And you contacted them because they're the owners of the dog and they have a house. Is not an answer.
Yes.
And a house usually has homeowners insurance.
Correct.
Correct? And after contacting them, and it's their dog, so they are ultimately responsible for their dog, you opted not to seek compensation for your alleged injuries and this attack, but to sue the dog walker.
Correct.
Just for my own information, Mr. Kwan, do you want to tell me why you did that?
Yeah. So per California strict liability law, anybody who takes physical ownership or responsibility for a dog is also responsible for any sort of attacks or damages it causes while they are responsible for that dog.
Okay, just a second. So what you're saying is in the state of California, if you were walking a dog, and she says she was walking this dog for a week, how many times a day every day?
2 times a day.
Twice a day. And she had this job for a week. That under all circumstances, she is responsible for any injury that the dog does. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
And what code is that?
I have a statute over here.
Just tell me the statute.
For California dog bite law. I don't have the number, but I can bring it up to the.
Would you bring it up?
The court.
It's California Civil Code 3342.
Do you have it?
I could pull it up. I have my notes.
Could you pull it up for me? And I'll come back to you in a second, Sarah. I'm just curious about it. Okay, now let's tell me about the incident, sir.
Sure. So at the time that I described earlier, I was walking my 20-pound wiener dog mix while my mother walked my infant son, who was 3 months at the time, in a stroller. Okay.
I mean, it's not that I don't care about him and I don't care about your mother, but they have nothing to do with this case.
Well, they do have something to do with this case because when we turned onto the block, I turned and I saw an off-leash dog roughly 3 times the size of mine, and I saw the defendant, Miss Lancaster. She gave no warning that the dog was off-leash, and at that point, I later learned that the dog...
No, don't tell me. Just tell me what happened, sir.
Okay.
You saw Miss Lancaster, and she was walking this dog off-leash.
Correct.
And?
She gave no indication?
No. Not that she gave me no indication. Okay. She was walking this dog off-leash.
Correct.
So you saw the dog off-leash.
Yes.
Okay. And about how far were you from her when you saw the dog off-leash?
Across the street, so roughly 40 feet.
Okay, and?
The dog charged across the street.
Okay, the dog ran across the street.
Yes, and started aggressively biting, lunging, and barking at my dog.
Okay, so at that point, the dog ran across the street and is in an aggressive stance barking at your dog.
Correct.
Hadn't touched your dog.
Correct.
What happened next?
It then diverted its attention towards my infant son in a stroller and my mother and started jumping on the stroller.
Did the dog, in fact, jump on the stroller?
Yes.
And?
And my response was to try to divert the attention.
What did you do? The dog jumped on the stroller.
Yes.
Didn't hurt your son, didn't hurt your mother.
Yes. So I got the attention of the dog again.
How did you do that?
By picking up my dog, who was on leash.
Well, that doesn't necessarily get attention of the dog. You say, hey.
Correct. Correct.
Well, you didn't say that. You just picked up your dog.
Yes. Yes. Probably exclaimed in
No.
attention of the dog.
You told me what you did. You picked up your dog
and started running across the street.
Started running across the street in the direction of where the dog had come from?
Correct.
And at that time, the dog was on the other side of the street.
Yes.
So let me understand this. You pick up your dog. Your mother is standing behind you in the stroller with your son. You leave your mother, your son, on one side of the street, and you grab your wiener dog mix and run across the street.
Correct. This was after I got the attention of the dog, by the way.
Okay. So now you got the attention of the dog.
Yes.
Ran across the street, so you were trying to divert the dog's attention, and the dog followed you.
Yes, it chased me.
Good. And you were running in her direction?
No. The Miss Lancaster had crossed the street at that point to where we were originally walking.
She was on your side of the street. You were going back to where you had initially seen her.
Correct.
Okay, so she had followed her dog across the street.
Yes.
Was she saying anything?
We made repeated pleas to ask for her to control the
situation. She ran across the street, because all this happened within seconds.
Yes.
She ran across the street. Was she saying anything?
She was yelling, "I'm so sorry, and I can't do anything."
Okay, is that what you were yelling?
I think I was yelling, "I'm so sorry, I don't know what to do," because I was in an extreme state of panic. I was probably having a panic attack.
I'm so sorry, I don't know what to do. Okay.
And after I ran across the street, when the dog chased me, I fell down. The dog ended up biting me on my left arm.
Okay. And I'd like to see whatever medical report you have from the bite on your left arm.
So the doctor said that...
Now, don't tell me what the doctor said.
I haven't...
Could I see?
I have a picture.
May I see
Absolutely.
a medical... Did you understand my words? I said, may I see a medical report
I do not
from
have
a
medical report.
So you didn't go to the doctor? The question is, did you go to the doctor, Mr.
I did a
Kwan?
virtual doctor's visit because this was during the height of the pandemic.
And what was the name of the doctor with whom you had a virtual visit?
I do not remember.
You should remember. You're suing for $10,000. You should have all that information. Because if you have a virtual medical visit, Mr. Kwan, there is a record of that. The doctor keeps a record of that. Do you understand?
Correct.
Okay. So now you're down, and this happened, according to you, on December 22nd. Did you get the dog's information?
I did.
On December 22nd?
Yes.
When did you speak to the owners of the dog?
I spoke to the owners actually that day because I wanted to get the rabies vaccination paperwork.
Did you get the rabies vaccination paperwork?
Yes.
On the 22nd?
Yes.
Now I'll see your photograph, sir.
I have that statute whenever you're ready.
I got it. Timing is everything. Okay, so the knee injury is when you fell.
Correct.
And the arm is a combination scratch and maybe tooth mark.
Yes, there are tooth marks on there, but not punctured.
I don't know. This long thing is not a tooth mark. So, just one other question, Mr. Kwan. When you told the owners about this on the 22nd, when was the next time you contacted them? First, you wanted to find out whether or not the dog had received rabies shots. You were satisfied that it did, that you didn't have to see a doctor, other than a virtual visit with a doctor whose name you don't remember. When did you decide not to sue the owners of the dog, who are homeowners?
I wrote
have homeowners insurance.
Yep, I wrote the owners of the dog a demand letter, and that is when I contacted them back, probably about 2 months after the incident.
Okay, so you wrote them a demand letter.
Correct.
And did they respond to your demand letter?
Yes.
Do you have copies of those letters?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see copies of your letter and their response.
That's the demand letter that
I just want to see copies of your letter and their response. Are they both here?
They did. They responded by calling me on the phone, not with a formal written statement.
Really?
Derek Kwan claims dog walker Danielle Lancaster owes for injuries resulting from a dog attack.
Well, you say the dog's a pit bull. The dog was a pit bull?
I believe so.
Dog a pit bull?
I asked after the incident. I did ask as well if it was a pit bull. They said no, it's a boxer mix.
Do you have a video of the incident? You have a video? Somebody has a video?
Yeah, correct. Someone's Ring camera.
Okay. I'm going to allow you to tell me what the owner said in the conversation that they had with you. I'm not accepting it for the truth of the statement, only that you had a conversation with them, which is why you brought this action against Miss Lancaster today.
Correct.
So they decided, we're not going to put this in writing, we're going to call Mr. Kwan.
Correct.
And what did they tell you?
They were very amicable about the situation, and were trying to solve the situation to make me whole.
Being amicable is subjective. I want you to tell me what you said to them and what they said to you.
What they said to me was that they would look into their homeowner's insurance policy in order to compensate me. Through a series of conversations, I decided that my grievance was not towards them because they were not exhibiting negligence in this situation.
Oh, no, I don't believe that, Mr. Kwan. Be very careful about what you say to me, sir. As between homeowners who have insurance and this young woman who has to walk dogs for a living, if I was somebody interested in $17,000, I wouldn't sue her. I would sue somebody who had, Kathy Bates said in one of my favorite movies, I'm older and I have more insurance. So that answer that you just gave me was a whole lot of who shot John. The reason you decided not to proceed against the dog's owners is what?
The reason why I proceeded not to go against the dog's owners is because I have because some things are more important than money. And in this situation, I have more of an issue with the dog walker and her behavior during this situation rather than being compensated.
Well, let me suggest this to you, Mr. Kwan. There is no question that if Miss Lancaster was walking this dog and the dog was off leash, she was negligent. There's also no question in my mind that the extent of your damages is excessive. Very excessive. So...
But we're only counting physical damage.
Just a second. What I'm telling you is the amount of your damages is excessive. And if you wanted anywhere near that money, you could have sued both people. You could have sued the owner of the dog, as not only did they have the dog that attacked you, but they have, as Kathy Bates would say, insurance. And you would join the defendant as a party to that action. You would say you're all responsible. You own the dog, which you say was a pit bull, right? Which you say was a pit bull, who just mauled and killed somebody in New York last week. An owner. You didn't do that, so I'm not getting all of this kumbaya business that the person responsible. Do you understand?
Yeah,
I'm just not buying it, Mr. Kwan. We understand each other?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. For somebody who has no medical, you had injuries, and you have to be compensated. You had no good excuse for walking the dog off leash.
I wasn't walking him off leash. When I was in the house happened, I had a key on the other side of the door. When I reached for that key, he scooted as hard as I could between my legs and got out. It wasn't that I was walking him and just decided to take him off the leash.
So you were negligent in letting the dog out?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the dog had also been out for an hour at the time of the incident.
Yeah, because when I was trying to get him back in, but many attempts, he was very hard to get in, and at that point I was already having a panic attack, very emotional.
No, Miss Lancaster, let's get it together. Let's get it together. Mr. Kwan says that the dog was out for a period of time, and you weren't chasing the dog when he first saw you. You were in a walking mode. So the dog may have initially gotten out. Miss Lancaster, don't. You know, I'm an ecumenical abuser. Were you out with the dog for a period of time?
Yes.
Did you have a leash in your hand?
I think
is not an answer. Did you have a leash in your hand?
No.
How long were you out with the dog?
Probably around an hour at that point.
Okay.
I was trying to get him back in, and twice I did have him by the collar, and he wasn't having it.
You didn't have him by the collar when he ran across the street?
No, but before then I did.
I don't care what happened before then.
Okay.
Before then I was 21 years old and I looked great in a bikini. Now not so much. All right, Mr. Kwan, this letter was written to Miss Lancaster.
Correct.
I asked you for the letter that you wrote to the owners of the dog.
I do not have that with me right now.
Can we key up this video that I understand we have?
You can see my mother has been
so sorry.
I
am so sorry.
Call the person out. He bit me.
I know I will, because he bit me too. I know.
Just grab him by the neck.
I can't. He bit me twice on my hand already. I don't know what to do. It's been an hour. I seriously don't know what to do. He bit me twice already. And I tried to get him on the leash, and he bit me twice. I don't know what to do. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
Can I see the beginning of that and see if you can freeze frame on the dog, please?